What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the master of hype, Snowbike Mike.
Yo, Greg, I'm here with you, and we're gonna have a great stream today.
We are
because we're on the big set.
Big
and
set.
We have an awesome background too.
I realized
special today.
you don't get to be on the big set that much. I realized the other day. I was listening to XCast on the way in today, and you and Gary were, and I was like, "Oh right, Mike's always in the Twitch streaming around."
Yeah, I'm usually in the lab, so this is like once a week I come out here to the big stage. So today, to make a stream out here is pretty special to me.
Happy to have you.
Yes,
of
Greg.
course, Mike's going to be my co-pilot, ladies and gentlemen, because we're playing Marvel's Iron Man VR. This is a sponsored stream. We are Quest partners. So if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, Iron Man VR came out to a little platform called the PlayStation VR a long time ago from a group called Camouflage, who of course have been huge supporters of Kinda Funny from day one. Ryan Payton, of course, will be on later to talk about that. Of course, he's been here. He came to the original spare bedroom. He came to the apartment and hung out and podcasted with us, Mike. But of course, Camouflage has gone on to do great things, including making Marvel's Iron Man VR, then being acquired by Meta, and now, of course, Marvel's Iron Man VR out right now on Meta Quest 2, as you see right there. And so they said, hey, can we come and play with you and have them come talk to you? And I was like, yeah, a chance to hang out with Ryan and play more Iron Man VR, a game I dug on PlayStation VR, but I didn't dig the load times, and I didn't dig being tethered all the time. And they're like, then you're gonna love this version of it, Greg. And I said,
you are.
Let's get it then, of course.
Heck yeah, Greg. I mean, this is my favorite part because, of course, we get the Twitch stream with all of our best friends watching around. We're on the big stage, but now we get to incorporate VR, which has been something I've been really looking forward to. We've been all at home. Now we're in the studio.
We have so much room.
And we get to have fun. We have room, Greg,
You know what I mean?
for activities.
Careful,
I got away from the wall.
don't break
Kevin,
my wall.
on purpose, I did my whole Guardian boundary over here. So I'll be up front and centered, not lit the best. Not lit the best, but I don't need to be lit the best for this. Sponsor stream again by, of course, Quest, Meta Quest here from Marvel's Iron Man VR. Very excited.
And I'm really excited because we get to play with the Quest, which I really love. I know you've heard me gush and talk about this, and being untethered is what I'm all about when we get into the VR world.
You need to be moving. You need to be moving, Mike. I know it well for you.
Come on, Greg. You know that. And so I'm really excited because I have not seen Iron Man VR before. This is going to be new to me.
You didn't even play it on PlayStation VR?
Never. No.
Xbot. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Xbot.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know
this
that.
is one of the conversations, Kinda Funny from the onset of VR has been really behind it and really interested in it, whether it be PlayStation VR, whether it be Quest 1, whether it be Quest 2. And Quest 1, as I've said multiple times on it, and again, this is a sponsored stream, but you can go find the dozens of hours of me talking unsponsored about how Quest 1, game changer.
Yeah.
Being when I played Beat Saber at GDC for the first time with that, and I was like, wait a second, it sounds stupid now because everybody understands what Quest is. At the time, I had to pull them aside after I played. I'm like, I don't understand. And like, is it communicating to that PC? And they're like, no, idiot. It's all in the headset. That's what it is. And so I've been stoked with it. Quest 2, big fan of. Yeah. And I think, again, sponsored by everything else. You can go check yesterday's Kinda Funny Games Daily when they announced that PlayStation VR 2 price point. And I was like, oof. That's going to be hard to compete with the Quest because I love the Quest so much. So to have Iron Man or Marvel's Iron Man VR, and I'm stoked about.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Quest is the catalog continues to grow. And so now, today, we get to team up with our friends over at Camouflage. You get to show me a new game, sell me on why I need to strap on the headset once again, and get lost in the fun, which I'm pumped up about.
And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, you're like, wait, he's got a headset on. How can he see everything? You can see me because my boundaries over there, so I can see everything's black and white now. I can still see what's going on. I can still get out here and have fun. And again, our first VR stream on the set or in Kinda Funny's spare bedroom.
This is a big deal right now. I'm kind of jealous of you because I was thinking, what could the possibilities be? Never thought it could be Greg suiting up as Iron Man. So this is going to be a fun one.
Again, there's an infamous photo of me out there, Mike, in my spandex Iron Man shirt playing Iron Man VR on the PSVR. So I am stoked.
Okay.
To be out here.
Well, let's get you set up on stage because you're going to jump into gameplay to kick off this sponsored stream. We're going to have some fun. I get to hang out with all of you in the chat. So if you have questions, if you got funny comments you want me to read off to Greg, please let me know. And of course, you can type an exclamation point Iron Man anytime throughout the stream to learn more about the game right now out on Meta Quest 2. Greg, I'm pretty excited. We're going to see the opening. You and I are going to kick this off right now to have some fun, which is going to be great.
Starting a brand new one. And look, if I ever want to see you, I come over here and go, hey, Mike, how you doing? And I can see you, Mike. You know what I mean?
And of course, I get to be all things safety. So I get to double check that you have your wrist straps on, that you're in a safe, fun play area. I think we're going to be doing all right today.
There was talk, and I'm not against it, but I don't need it. There was talk from one Kevin Coelho, the big dog over there in the control room, saying maybe we put the shock collar on me. And if at any point I don't wear my wrist straps, I'm going to get shocked. But I'm always wearing my wrist straps.
You say the word and I can grab it for you.
I'm also terrified of Kevin and like hurting his studio. So trust me, I would do it.
Yes.
You guys are receiving me? Everything's happening?
Yeah, you look great.
Excellent.
This is another cool one, Greg. I just want to highlight really quick. I love that you can stream directly to a PC in a whole nother room, and then we can live stream it. That's a pretty special thing there, Greg.
Yeah,
no
if you don't
cords at
understand
all.
how this is happening, again, I am completely untethered. I can do whatever whatever I want.
Greg, please stop.
Kevin, it's going to be fine. It's okay. I got the wrist straps on. But yeah, we're using the casting feature of Oculus Quest 2. So it's just casting to the PC in there. But yeah, no wires, nothing else. So are we okay?
Yeah, we are good to go, Greg. Show off, and let's have some fun.
I can't believe you haven't played this.
No, I haven't played this one. I've been playing a lot of Quest 2, so this will be an exciting thing for me to add to my library.
I'm just kidding. I could walk, but I'll use the stick. If we had the entire area empty, I would just wander around and get a great workout. Get a great workout. Oh yeah, no, I want to stay here.
Hi. My name is Tony. And, well, you know who I am.
Iron Man. I'm Iron Man.
That's cool.
I'm Iron Man.
And what I am. All of us here are capable of self-destruction if we're not careful. But in my case, mass destruction is also a distinct possibility. You see, I once created an artificial intelligence in my own image. He looked like me, talked like me, had the same impulses I did. He was a cool dude. Until last month when he tried to blow up the world.
Can you believe it, Mike?
Okay.
No, that's what I like to see. You seen how fast that load time went, Mike? That's what I like to see. Come on now.
All right, we already got Greg pumped up about the load time, so that's a positive to kick this off.
Well, again, that was the one downside to PSVR. And the cables.
Yes.
Because you think I could do this? You think I could have done this in PSVR? I could have done that in PSVR. All right, here we go.
I'm kind of upset you didn't jump then.
I didn't what?
Jump up to show us the mobility you have.
You yell at me when I jump up now.
I know, but I like it.
Starting with maneuvering thrusters. Hands by my sides. Arms back.
Okay.
Good. Feels good.
Josh Keaton, of course, providing the Tony Stark voice here. Friend of the show.
Nice. I was going to ask who that was to the devs when I speak with them.
Oh, sorry.
That's cool.
Who was it? I don't know. We'll see when they come out.
We'll learn all about
when
it.
Ryan and Matt from Camouflage come through, we'll see who that is. I won't tell you who Pepper is then either.
And now, so the cool one, Greg, I watched some videos in preparation of this week, right? And the cool one is how you control how Tony Stark and Iron Man fly around, right?
Yeah.
With all the hand movements here. By your side, you can push back and get more speed. You can slow down and go forward. Like, that's a pretty cool mechanic here that they're going to build off of.
We always talk about it when I talk about VR, that when VR works best, it's when it's natural. And when you have those experiences, right?
Opening target.
That's when you're like, oh man, I get it. I understand what this is. And so when I first got the demo from Ryan Payton, who you'll see in a second, right? He walked in and he gave me the controllers and he said, all right, well, how does Iron Man fly? And I put my hands down to his side. He's like, all right, and how does Iron Man shoot? And I put my hands up like this. And he said, all right, you got it. That's the game. Wow. And it was like, because it is that thing where it's this natural of like, okay, well, I'm using my repulsors. There's a unibeam too, which we'll talk about in a second, right? But right now we go through the tutorial and get some of that
That's
stuff.
cool.
And again, I'm so used to having to stay in one spot, I can actually do all the directions.
I love that, yeah. Being able to spin around freely is going to be nice.
You may have a problem, Tony.
Pepper, I have a lot of problems.
I'm serious. You in this armor. Do I need to stage an intervention?
We have Big
Only if I start
Easy
wearing a
says,
set.
this looks awesome. I've been waiting to try this on the Quest 2. So there's people who have known about this game, Greg, that like me are looking forward to playing this now that it's out over on
Oh,
a
sure.
different
Well, yeah, it got announced, obviously,
ecosystem,
that it was
you know?
coming out
Yeah.
on Quest 2 when they announced they acquired Camouflage, our friends over there. So people have known for a while. And then, of course, there's always the hope. It's also, you know, this is something I talked about yesterday on Games Daily, right? When we were talking about PlayStation VR 2's and the price point. It is that idea that VR is still in such an interesting spot right now that because it's a smaller audience, I do feel like people are working together more.
Yeah.
Where the fact this was a PlayStation game, right? For PlayStation VR, but it is out on Oculus now.
All right, time to fly. Anyone for tennis?
No, you always win.
Oh, come on. We can play doubles.
Still getting used to just being able to move
Hello?
around.
Anyone there?
Yeah, we have a fun one coming in right now. Colin5808. We're gonna just spoil it right now, Greg. Who is Pepper? Because they just wrote in Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer
question mark.
Hale is, in fact,
Really?
Commander Shepard herself is, in fact, Pepper Potts in this game. She does a great job, too.
Is epic. Good for them. That's very cool.
I'll carry you.
It'll be a
You see, it's a laugh. That's what gives it away. When it's a J. Hale role, when it's, you know, when it's Rivet herself from Ratchet and Clank, that's when you know.
Inspecting the foundations?
I should add a secret entrance down here.
You know, it's not a secret if you tell me about it.
Get a little bit in here. Hang a little bit back in my guardian boundary. I gotta get out of there. You understand, Mike?
Mind if I
I love drawing that,
know I look better
that
with
Guardian
audience.
boundary up all the time, Greg. I think it's very cool.
I'm about to get my speed burst, I think. That'll be the game changer, Mike. You'll see.
Let's start with
You'll all see. There we go. What'll be fun, Mike, is that there's a bunch of customizable suits. There's a bunch of unlockable suits to get in this game.
I noticed that as well while I was doing my research on that. I'm
I think if I
looking
stop the DC
forward to
motor
seeing
first
all the different
and
suits.
apply quarter-inch
Sorry, it's
magnetic
nice to be able to just spin
resistance
around.
to root thrusters. I can reduce my drag coefficient by 10, maybe 10.5%.
Okay. Should I be ready
Look
to
at
go?
you getting active right now while you're
Like
gaming.
a steel trap.
Yeah?
That was an
When's my
impressive
birthday?
little turnaround there, Greg.
I'm
That's
getting
good.
used to it. Like, I had to be very stable before
Sounds like
with
Yeah.
PSV. Ah!
yes out there.
That's on me. That's on me, everybody. But look at that. Pick it up that way. There we go. Woo! Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you got to
Here we go.
squeeze through that. Oh, no, you're stuck.
No, no, no. No, it's stuck on purpose. It's showing me how to do my
He's
punches.
stuck in the cave, everybody.
Knock it. Just
Tony's
like that guitar.
Tony Stark made this with a box of scraps in a cave with a box of scraps. That's my Obadiah saying. It wasn't my best one, Mike. I'll get you better. I'll get you better. There we go.
Can Greg fly into the water? We have a question coming in from our homeboy in the chat right now. Wants to know, can
No.
you dive in then fly out?
No.
Okay, just a little touch right there, a little touch of water.
I gotta get my sea legs back, Mike. I'm blowing. I'm getting points added to it and scores added
Time
to
to
it.
punch out.
There you go,
See what he
punch
said?
out.
Punch out. You see what he did there? Did you see it, Mike? Do you see what he did?
I saw
punch
that.
out.
Now you give it to me, yep.
Ugh,
There's
God,
the
that's
punch
bad,
out.
that's bad.
148, could have been better.
Target time 230. Again, I'm rusty, everybody.
Okay,
And I'm used
okay.
to having the couch at my ass the entire time. I will come back to it, Mike. We're not going to worry about it right now.
All right, you come on back to it now.
Noodle on it.
Now, one of my favorite things
When you're
about
ready,
VR,
come find me at the house.
I am completely lost in the world. I have no idea where you are. Are
Yes.
you here?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, surprisingly, you are pretty good with that.
Is your,
yeah.
well, I can hear your voice, which is
Oh,
helpful,
yeah,
but
true.
it is that feeling where I'm like, used to you being behind me or thinking
Mm-hmm.
you should be behind me.
Well, I
Damn
think
it.
that's the
I mean,
fun
it
of
feels
VR.
great to be able to move.
Exactly. When you're untethered with the MetaQuest, you can just kind of get lost in the world. And then when you pull off the headset, you don't really know where you are or where you're oriented anymore, which I like a lot.
There's scoreboards in here. Be careful, Mike.
Mike, remember to stay on the mic.
Now, being
Yes.
trapped in a
Mics are
cave with a gun to your head
significantly
and a
less
car
forgiving
battery hooked
than
to
the
your
other
heart
mics.
really changes
Thank
your
you,
outlook on
Kevin.
things. My days of making weapons were over. I was proud of that. And more importantly, Pepper. Pepper was proud of me.
So I'm reading the chat out the nose hole here. Garrett says, how does the motion sickness / lack thereof feel? Again, I don't know if I'm the best candidate to tell you. I've played a lot of VR. I do enjoy VR quite a bit. So it's been a long time since I found, and I think also people have just gotten great at making VR games.
Yes.
So you're not at, like, with the things, the sins of the past, if you will, not as big a problem. Look at this now. That's me. Tony Stark, Mike. You ever heard of him?
Love that.
Hold on, I want to double back. I didn't look at that chest. I forget if that chest opens. Because if we can get some free stuff, we're going to get some free stuff.
I like some free stuff. I also love exploring these fun created worlds. I see that we're in the big, mansion. We get to walk around and explore all this. How many times have you explored this mansion and how big is it, Greg?
It's a good size. Look at it. There's Pepper down there. I got to go talk to her.
There you go. Tell me a little bit about your mansion.
Well, we're here in Malibu, Mike. As you can see, we needed the
Malibu.
ocean views. We like that. Now, of course, right here, you'll see some simulated sunlight. Now, that isn't a real skylight. Of course, Stark Mansion has to be 100% villain-proof. So I couldn't put that in here, but I wanted to make sure these palm trees grew. That was very important to me and Pepper, that we had these here and we were able to do that. Now, if you also notice, I like cones a lot. We're doing a lot of work here. It's a work zone. We're obviously in the middle of, retrofitting the place. If you have, to pull out of the character and the joke here, right? There is a whole thing, right, of like, the narrative here is that you are Iron Man, but it's not like you've been Iron Man forever, as you saw. I don't know if you caught the dialogue of Pepper and Tony talking, right? Where she's like, you'll never get to carry me in that thing, yada, yada, yada. So we kind of in this Iron Man 1 kind of situation, right?
Oh, okay.
Where it's like, all right, you see him pulling down stuff. He doesn't want to be a war profiteer, all that jazz. But can you just take those mistakes away? Can we erase the sins of the past that quickly, Mike? We'll find out. Look at this, it's a gun.
Oh, okay.
Can't grab it.
Can reach and grab that, yeah.
Well, I got enough guns. I don't need more guns.
Now, Greg, did you say you could just walk around without using the stick, or?
Oh yeah, I mean it's VR, right? So if I wanted to, I could do like this. I mean, it's not like I could, like it would move with me. Right? My boundary's gonna get tough in a second, but see, like if we wanted to clear the whole place out,
That's pretty rad.
and then I could
Look
just
at
like,
Greg is just moving around. I like that.
well, I got the boundary. I don't know where I'm at. I guess you're there. You're there. Say,
Close. You're close. Yeah, yeah.
Marco.
Polo, you're in there.
Fish out of water. Like, you get the idea of it or whatever. But yeah, like I've thought about it before of like, Mike, Andy Cortez and you love to shoot the hoops.
Love that.
And you could take your quest out, dude. I think actually it might say when you're doing your meta quest thing, it's like always play inside, but you don't have to listen to them, right? They're not watching this right now. They don't know what I do with this when I get home. I can do whatever I want.
Half the fun. Now, looking at your hands, Greg, can you move around your fingers? Can you give us a peace sign, maybe?
No, I don't have this finger by finger control, but I can make fists. But I can open I can clap.
There you go. Clapping is good enough. I like that.
Oh, it's a Tim like gorilla clapping too.
I love Fast and the Furious. I'm Tim Geddes. I'm Greg. I eat food. All right, back to it. Why don't we do more streams in VR, Mike?
We will, Greg. You actually get to be the kickoff of it all. You are proving the tech right now that you can stream your headset directly to control without any wires through a wall, if that too. So yeah, this is a proper test for us here. Kind of funny.
Maybe we get a couple more meta quests. I don't know. Maybe
I want you to know, Kevin. I did put in the email the other day. I'm like, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not getting my tracking right. I was like, hey, yeah, and if we could get 2 more headsets, that'd be great. And they're like, for the stream or for funsies? I was like, for funsies.
For funsies, please.
I love funsies.
Of course, chat, if you want to learn more about Marvel's Iron Man VR, you can type an exclamation point VR anytime throughout this stream. And if you have questions that you'd like to get to me, Greg, or even the team over at Camouflage, the devs will be joining us here in just a little bit. We'd love to talk it out with all of you and have some fun sharing the hype and the fun of this awesome game now hitting MetaQuest.
To step outside a little bit and just talk about the production of this, I'm blown away at how easy this is.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't say that out loud, because remember, it's sponsored. We want them to think it was really tough. And
I mean, obviously, we put a lot of work.
no just regular Twitch streamer could do this. This is something the experience only Kind of Funny could give you.
Yes.
No, but in reality, it's like, wow, it's putting it, like connecting it to the computer and sending over the feed.
Oh, Mike, do you like that? I flicked them open.
I like that. Let's talk about the game, Greggy.
Yeah.
How long? How much content are we seeing inside of this? Because you brought up the customization. We saw the tutorial. There's a story clearly going on here. What are we expecting out of this for players?
Man, well, when Camouflage gets here, we'll ask them, because I no longer remember how long it took me on PlayStation VR. I remember it was good length. It wasn't too short. It wasn't too long.
Oh,
and
I like that.
If you wanted, when you go through, you have the choice of what you're upgrading.
Okay.
So I'll have like the unibeam, and I'm gonna have my repulsors, and I'm gonna have a whole bunch of rockets and stuff. You choose what you invest in and how you go on that and stuff like that. And then yeah, the suits obviously you unlock based on different things. And then then I think I played through on normal, right? And either it unlocks a harder difficulty, or it was just for the platinum I would have needed to play through on the hardest difficulty. And I wanted to, I just never got back to it.
Okay. Well, we're jumping back into it now. Why don't you take us on another mission here as we get ready for the devs to join us?
Story.
You're still getting pieces of the story?
I'm walking around, like I got my glasses on so I can see stuff
I'm just keeping you on time check. That's all. That's what I'm here for.
It's fun. Even when Matt and Ryan are here, we'll talk to them for a little bit, and then you know what? We'll just get back to playing.
We want to see you fly.
You're gonna see some flying from Iron Man. Don't you worry about that. Here we go. See, this is where I gotta pack up my pass. What is up with that? That's on me, I think. Pack up the pass, man. Let the pass be the pass, Mike. Here we go. I'm close to my boundary.
Dad always said stick to your guns. Sorry, Howard.
Oh, is that the first
You did
weapon
things
they
your way
sold?
long enough.
That's got to go.
Get it out of here. We're
Put
done
it in
with
the
them.
box.
We're done with weapons.
The
yeah.
past is the past.
The past is the past. I'm a new Iron Man. Pepper's Iron Man.
I like when you talk that you put your hand up sometime and talk to me. I
Well,
like
that
a
was
lot.
I was like, wait a second. I'm definitely turned around on where I am exactly. So here, I'm gonna step back to here, and then do this. Yeah, no, I know what to do. All right, head outside. Mike, you ever been to Malibu?
No, I've yet to be to SoCal. I've yet to visit SoCal, Greg.
Gotcha.
How about you? Have you spent multiple days at Malibu on the beach hanging
I
out?
want to say I've done E3 stuff down there, like Judges Week, but I don't remember it well. Like I've never been to a Tony Stark like house, you know.
Well,
Yes.
my past self. The gunsmith.
I don't remember everybody. I'm getting my sea legs back, so when I'm up there and I'm floundering a little bit, hold on, I'll get there. Oh, look at a little candlelight dinner.
Candlelit dinner, Tony? You're full of surprises.
Oh, that's nice.
If you only knew.
No silverware?
We'll use our hands.
Ooh, tapas.
See.
See, Mike, I know we've been talking over it. He didn't actually plan this.
Oh, really?
Something's going on here.
Something's afoot.
To start, Palma de Fuego.
So, we're not having dinner. What?
Huh, right on cue.
Stark Industries drones?
Combat drones. Last of them. The dregs. I figured they deserve a worthy
I'm
set.
kidding.
If you're gonna blow stuff up, at least move away from the fine china.
See, Mike, he was like, you have no idea.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, look at us over here.
We're done with it. We're done being the bad guy, Mike. We're a new Tony Stark.
I like that.
We're gonna protect the world, not destroy it.
Stark versus Stark.
Like I always say, Tony, you're your own worst enemy.
You know it, Pep.
So what's on the other plate? Codpiece?
No. Dessert.
Something sweet?
Bittersweet.
What do we got in there?
Yes.
Here goes.
The gunsmith AI?
It's time the old Tony hung up his spurs.
Time to say goodbye.
Hey, boss. Miss Potts. Where's the party?
Wherever you go.
Not a fan of my new drones, huh? Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. is hot for 'em. Director Fury put in a full order.
I canceled that order.
What? You're shutting me down.
Early retirement. You've earned it.
Boss,
It's not your fault. I made you to make weapons. Created you in my own image. And now you want to change that image. I want to change the world. So, do I go to the trophy case or the trash? Well, you're top shelf, pal. I'll keep you around. Suspended animation, but with full internet privileges. Oh.
All this sounds like a bad idea, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's questionable moves
We
right
got
now.
an AI that's all about guns and weapons, and I'm like, listen,
You're top
I'm not
shelf.
technically killing you. I'm just going to put you in suspended animation
See,
forever.
I thought we were just destroying it, moving on with our lives.
Right,
you know?
that's what he
Being
probably should
better.
have done.
Let's get to it, boss. A life of leisure awaits. See you on the other side.
Oh, we have some fun questions coming in from the chat right now, Greg.
Okay.
One you've already answered, but who voices Tony Stark?
The one, the only Josh Keaton. You might know him as Spider-Man. You might know him as a million other things. But now you know him as Tony Stark / Iron Man.
And then another fun one, when we talk about accessibilities and we talk about features and really cool options in the game that you can add on, subtitles in the game. Are there
Oh.
subtitles in the
There
game for
must be,
people?
right? I can do that for the chat.
See what kind of cool options we
There
can
we
get
go.
into.
Yeah, there you go. Bam. We got it for you. That's a great idea, Chad. Thank you very much. You know? Do you want me to go into others? What's VR experience?
What else you got in there? Let's take a look at that. Let's dive into some of the features.
You got the vignette. I like the vignette. I like how it looks already. Gameplay-wise, difficulty, snap turns, turn speed, angle, trigger moves, you know?
Super heroic. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Kevin, don't worry about me. I'm just your average person.
Cruise missile or smart bomb. The world needs you, Tony.
That's actually a photo of me with my hands up. while I was doing it.
How cool is that? They have some really fun features with the MetaQuest that I really enjoy when it comes to taking photos and sharing it with your friends like that.
All right, Mikey.
Here we
get
go.
out there?
Back to it. Back to the skies.
Years later. See? What I'm
Okay.
talking about? Now we're caught up.
Oh, now look at us.
Strange.
Yeah, Mikey.
Oh, we got the suit in there. All right.
We're on our PJ. We're going to Malta with
We're
Johnny
on the
Ace.
PJ headed to Malta to help.
Morning, sir.
Right.
Maybe just
May
for
I
a
get
nice
you something?
vacation.
Friday. You seen Pepper?
I believe she's putting out a fire.
Oh, what do you want, Mike? Did I start it or literal?
Oh,
figurative?
see, now this is the fun one I was going to bring up. I like that you can choose the dialogue, Greg. I think that's a
You're
really
Tony
cool
Stark.
little
You're
feature
Tony
that they
Stark.
put in
You
this.
get to choose.
I like that. Choose your left one, Greg. Go left. I like going left.
For the record, you should probably say it.
Well, see, a lot of people don't know, Greg.
Bad as
You're
left.
standing directly in front of the television that I'm trying to look and read, and so I'm just guessing.
But if you weren't, he still wouldn't be able to read it.
Yeah, he's got
The
bad
font's so small,
glasses.
the font's
Okay,
so
well, let's
small.
not tease me here.
Relations shocked the business world today when he named Pepper Potts the new CEO of Stark Industries. During a press conference, Mr. Stark admitted he had not informed Ms. Potts of his decision prior to the announcement.
Perhaps you jumped the gun, sir.
It's the opportunity of a lifetime. She's gonna thank me.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm your assistant, Tony. You need to warn me before you do stuff like this.
You're not my assistant. You're the CEO of Stark Industries. Or don't you watch the news?
I'm gonna...
Pepper, I'm not always right. I mean, I'm usually right.
Tony!
But here's the thing. I wasn't put on Earth to sit behind a desk. And you weren't put here to handle my unpaid parking tickets.
I was gonna ask if there are any more of them.
There are glove boxes full of them. That's not the point. The company turned a corner years
Yum,
ago.
yum. Bring me.
You're a force
Bring me
for
the
good in this
coffee.
world. I want you to get that message out there.
Don't people always try to shoot the messenger?
That's right. Turbulence, Mike.
Yeah.
Friday.
Totally normal. Don't
You
worry about
taught
it.
you how to fly.
You did, sir. Unfortunately,
Oh.
I'm not in control right now. Someone has taken us over. Remotely.
Mike, we got trouble.
Out there! It's a Stark drone. A combat drone?
We don't make combat drones anymore.
Uh-oh.
The drone is encasing itself in some sort of hard-light shield.
Hello, Stark.
Do I know you?
I'm a ghost from the past.
Tony, look!
It's bad, Mike.
Incoming!
A ghost from the past.
Mike.
Friday, your airline just lost my luggage.
Then file a complaint when we land.
Override my safety belt. Pepper,
I know! Just come back in one piece!
You gotta go. Save the world, Tony.
Whoa! Those drones are headed toward Pepper.
I see them, sir.
Friday, I'm feeling a bit naked here.
Hang on, sir. Light gauntlet inbound. Debris, shoot it. Left gauntlet
Come on,
inbound.
Mike. Come on, Mike.
More debris, sir.
Take flight, Greg. Show us what you got. Everybody's watching.
Drones inbound.
Friday, where's my head at?
In the clouds as usual, sir.
Running out
Funny
of
turn
time
of phrase
here.
there, Mike.
Great writing right there. Great writing.
All systems online.
Just in time. I got a plane to catch.
You can't outrun your past, Stark.
We'll see about that. Pepper, can you hear me?
Little windy, but yeah, I hear you.
Oh, look at that. Title splash.
How cool. All right. Chapter 1.
Sir, we have a massive breach in the hull.
Old
Figure we
news,
can do this
Friday.
and bring
Tell me about
camouflage in,
something I
probably?
didn't just
Yeah,
jump out.
let's play a little bit of this, and you're right on time. Greg is right.
Remember, everybody, this is a sponsored stream here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We are playing Marvel's Iron Man
Agent Violet
VR,
needs your attention.
available now on the Meta Quest 2. Ah!
A secondary explosion on the right engine, sir.
Got it.
Fire suppression system online.
Do you like that move, Mike? Do you
Yeah.
like that move?
Go handle that.
Do you like this move, Mike? Little fire suppression?
How cool would this be? Being able to do this in VR is pretty wicked. This is great.
That's one less burning issue to deal with.
Good job, sir. Sir, the autopilot is no longer responding, and the jet is projected to crash into a populated area. I'll deal with the autopilot.
Pepper? No, stay put. It's too dangerous.
Says the guy who jumped out of the plane.
Any more from our mystery guest?
They're giving us the silent treatment, but their hounds are clawing at the door.
Show him in.
There we go, showing it off.
Ah, no, shoot the plane, Pepper!
Hell yeah! Pepper! Friday, what's going on in there?
Scanning for Miss Potts.
You should upgrade your firewall.
Our new friend's messing with my HUD.
They've also locked me out of the jet's diagnostics. I have no read on Miss Potts.
Pepper, do you copy?
Enemies inbound.
Got it. Pepper! Pepper, come in!
And now, how's your tracking and aiming, Greg, after such time away from the game? You think you still got it?
You can see that I still got it. I think I'm going to be even better by the end of the stream, of course, but I'm feeling great right now. Personally, I think I'm looking great, but the chat can tell me. Chat, throw up some ones if I'm looking great.
Chat,
if not, throw up 1,572,000.
Let Greg Miller know if he's looking great as Iron Man. He needs to know. He wants the confidence right now.
I am excited to start upgrading the suit, though. This overheat business on my repulsor is just no, I'm not having it. I'm not having it right now. That's going to be top priority, Mike, when we get in the lab.
Okay. Upgrade the suit, customize the suit. Want to see all the colors, all the different designs.
They had a really
for sure.
cool. So when the game came out originally on PlayStation VR, right? It had I'm sure it does here too, but it was like right around July 4th, and they had the Iron Patriot suit in it. Dope. Fix that.
That looks better.
I've located an airstrip for emergency landing.
Thanks, Friday. Pepper, you think you can
I
land
mean,
this
how cool
bird?
is this, though?
Wicked cool, Greg. I can't wait to talk to the team about working in such a 3D space, right? Because a lot of VR games that I play, you're kind of boots on the ground and you're limited to what that motion can be. I love the idea of being in the sky and really being able to go any which way you like.
Make a wish.
And all's well that ends well, Mike.
It's all yours, Pepper.
Another successful mission for Iron Man.
Saved Pepper.
Well done.
Good day in
Saved
the
the plane,
skies.
too,
No
you
one
know?
has any further objections. I say we call it
Your old weapons will be the death of you.
Sir, I'm detecting a new energy signature.
day. More enemies? Good. My trigger finger's getting itchy. Yeah!
And of course, chat, keep in mind throughout this fun sponsored stream, we're going to be sitting down with the development team from Camouflage to hang out and talk with them about the big release over here on MetaQuest 2. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, if you'd like to learn more about Marvel's Iron Man VR, get them in the chat right now. I'll put them on the side and we'll make sure to talk with the team all about that, as they will be coming on in just a couple of minutes here.
One's back. My controls are locked.
Pepper!
Uh-oh.
Mike, that's bad.
We got a problem here, folks.
It's vanished from radar.
I can see that. Get me back online.
Systems restored. Tony, nothing's responding here. Sir, I believe the jet is officially a lost cause.
Pepper, find an exit.
Oh, we got to get that jet.
I'm working on it, Mike. The love of my life's in there.
Get Pepper ASAP.
I'm trapped. Miss Potts, there's a panel beneath your feet, a compartment. It leads to the nose landing gear. Found it! Climbing down now!
I'll meet you under the jet. Pepper, take my hand.
Tony!
Welcome to your connecting flight.
The writing gets me.
Next time, I want my own suit.
Yeah. How many stars am I going to get on this thing?
Let's see, Greg.
4!
Oh,
Damn.
I thought you were going to 5-star it. I thought you were going to 5-star it right here on day one.
I won't lie to you, I thought I should have, but at the end I took some damage there. You know, I see the 96% on the thing, but it's because I was trying to get the pepper so quick. I wanted to fly right through some of the obstructions.
Yep.
I'm coming out!
Welcome back to reality, my
Where
friend.
am I? I was just in the air!
You did very well there, Greg, showing that one off and having some fun to kick off our stream right now. We have a whole lot more, and you're going to get back in the headset in just a little bit, which is very, very exciting. How you feeling coming out of it? A lot of people talked about the motion sickness. You spoke about it of like, hey, I've played a lot of VR. Now I feel better, and being untethered, you kind of get that bearings right. But how do you feel jumping out right now?
I feel great.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think, again, it's how much VR have you played and what do you do? But then again, the advancements that have been made in VR.
Yeah.
I think if you're, Gen 1 trying stuff when this all started really coming out, it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
But it's night and day. And again, Quest being untethered does matter and does mean something. Let alone the work that Camouflage is who you're about to meet with Ryan and Matt waiting in the wings and about to come on. What they've done and what they know and how they've expanded on this idea. But
How about a little sweat on the brow?
I'm not sweating. No, I probably have. Kevin, can I get? Do we have? Does this camera give me the close up over here? Can you see? Do I have the old VR ring?
A little light ring. Yeah, a little right on top of the cheeks.
Now remember,
right there.
see, remember, of course, I'm very fair skinned. You know, Jen's got me on a new regimen. Because I'll tell you what, when Anthony Carboni woke me up during the 24-hour live stream,
you look
great
look
still frame. Instagram.com/GameOverGreg. You can go look at it. But I saw the bags under my eyes. And I was like, Jen, we need to work on those. And so she has me on this new nighttime thing I do, and then this overall thing I do. Yeah.
Wow,
I've seen some.
You were also up for like
24 straight hours.
Sure, but even before then, just in the build up to Studio Kev, I had noticed I was looking beat. I was looking beat.
Well, it's interesting because I was just going to compliment you coming out of the headset. Your hair and face looks great right now.
Thank
You're
you.
looking good. So good job. But yeah, Greg, why don't you spoke about it, having the team from Camouflage once before in the spare bedroom, the actual spare bedroom. Now you take them to the new spare bedroom. What does that full circle mean to you to see some of your friends and peers in this industry still working hard, having fun, creating things that they love?
Oh, I mean, it means the world to me, right? Again, we'll have Ryan on here in a second, and Ryan had come through the spare bedroom when it was actually the spare bedroom back in the day to talk Republic, and we had the poster up behind him. I think he'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think that poster was up because he supported us on Patreon. I think it was one of those they did that to get it up there.
I believe that's right.
And so to see them, right, like go from working on Republic, another game with Jennifer Hale, and of course another game you can get on all manner of platforms these days. I remember what a huge, exciting announcement it was for them to say that, hey, we're making Iron Man or Marvel's Iron Man VR. We're working with Marvel Games on this because I love Marvel games. I talk about it all the time, everything I do and what Bill Roseman and team are doing over there. Hey, Bill, I'm sure you're watching right now, and how incredible it is to see them take their IP and bring them to video games in so many different ways, right? Like obviously we're talking about a MetaQuest sponsorship right now, but Marvel Snap, come on, right? And that's Marvel Games. And then you talk about Insomniac Spider-Man, you talk about Insomniac's Wolverine, you talk about everything else, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing so much cool stuff. And again, what I love about Marvel Games is the fact that they go to talented developers like Camouflage and say, what do you want to make? What weird stuff can you make? And I know the story of how Iron Man VR got made is pretty interesting and unique. So I do want to talk to Ryan about that. I hope so.
Oh, okay, good.
If Ryan hangs me out to dry on that and Matt's like, don't talk about that, we're screwed. But I think we're going to probably be okay.
I like that. Well, going from the spare bedroom with just a poster on the wall to the new spare bedroom with Iron Man up here on the big
It's an upgrade
wall. I mean, that's awesome. So let's invite them in because it is time.
Sure.
We're ready to rock and roll.
If anybody can hear us out there, if we could get
some best
Matt
friends of the team in there.
Bear
Matt
and Kevin,
Ryan,
grab them.
Feel
I'm
free
come to your
come
other
on
side.
in.
I'm going to come to your other side.
I would like you to be here for the setup for this. Is right.
I'm sure you would. Don't worry about it.
On my good side, please.
Remember,
is right.
This is a great time to remind you it's a sponsor stream. We're doing this. Marvel's Iron Man VR is out right now on MetaQuest 2, and they wanted to come in and bring some of our oldest friends.
Do it. Come here. Bring it in, buddy. Thank you.
Please grab that one.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. It's gonna be great to hang out with you guys.
Thank you. Beautiful set here.
Thanks for having us. Oh, heck yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Ryan, I assume you heard most of that conversation, but this spare bedroom is quite an upgrade from the last one I think you were in, right?
Yeah, with the sponsored Republic poster.
Yeah, so that was right? That was a Patreon sponsorship you guys did. Thank you so much, Camouflage, for supporting Kind of Funny in our infancy.
That was amazing to see what you guys have built. This is really impressive.
Well, I mean, geez, man, you talk about amazing to see what you've built. Look at this. Look at Iron Man VR. Look at it on Quest 2. Look at you still out there making it happen, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, it's.
Do you need me to push you in? I know the chairs don't roll, so you're way off the mic. I can come push you. Matt, you need to push, Matt? I'll come push. You want to push? Yeah.
But before we talk about
here comes Nick. Oh, God. You don't want a Nick push. Oh, not a Nick push, everybody.
Push yourself quick.
Here we go. Yeah.
But Greg, before we talk about Iron Man, I just want to say you have this beautiful complexion right now. What do you like? You don't have any.
Keep in mind,
bags
this is a
under your
sponsored
eyes.
stream.
It's all thanks to my wife, Genevieve, everybody. I'll tell you what, she's out there. I don't know what the creams are, but they're doing it.
Okay.
All right? They're doing it.
I want to hear your secrets.
Is she still out there? Because she was out there. Jen, if you're still out there in earshot, come in and tell us what creams I'm using, because I don't know. I don't remember what I'm in. If you see her out there. So much to talk about, obviously, but I guess at the top, I know you guys very well, right? And it's great to see you here, and thank you for coming and hanging out with us and doing all this with us. But a lot of people probably don't know you at home. So, Ryan, in a nutshell, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, so I'll start with that. Yeah, so I'm Ryan Payton, and I'm the studio head at Camouflage. I was the director of the Marvel's Iron Man VR, and I got my start as a game journalist, and went through Ziff Davis, did OneUp.com, Wired, EGM, and then got my first game gig as a producer on Metal Gear Solid over at Konami in Japan. So
It's gonna get better.
That was a pretty good first game development job. Shipped Metal Gear Solid 4 as producer, and then went back home to Seattle and became creative director on Halo 4 at Microsoft.
It's only getting better.
I was like, I didn't tell Mike any of your story.
Mike, just wait. Go there, work my butt off, working on the story. This is the first non-Bungie Halo game, right?
Big deal.
It's a big deal. I'm 28 years old, and I'm creative director of this very, very big game where the team would go up to 250 people, right? So you can imagine my disappointment and where I felt like my career was basically over when I was demoted and then subsequently let go about three years into it, and it was crushing because I really cared about that game. I cared about that project, but I didn't know at the time, but that was a door opening for me to start the studio Camouflage. That was 11 years ago.
God.
And then we shipped Republic. We shipped Marvel's Iron Man VR. We're working on another title, working with Meta and the Oculus Studios team. And now, just officially, just a few months ago, we became part of Meta. And so we're really excited about being a first-party studio for Oculus Studios. Brought on Matt Walker. This is a good segue into Matt Walker because I wanted to grow the studio. I wanted to grow Camouflage so we can take on multiple projects. And we've got Matt Walker here who led up the production of Marvel's Iron Man VR for the MetaQuest 2.
All right, exactly, Ryan Payton. That's totally true. That is all totally true.
What a totally candid, normal conversation with Matt Walker and Ryan Payton.
It's actually very similar to many conversations we have. We talk like this very often.
We do.
But so hi.
Hey,
I'm
man, how
Matt
are you?
Walker, producer over at Camouflage here, and just like Ryan said, on Marvel's Iron Man VR for the MetaQuest family of systems.
Yeah.
And kind of similar to Ryan, I also started out like in Japan. You know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are similar, but like, you know, we kind of grew up with Japanese video games, right? And that's what we loved. And so for me, like my dream was always to work in Japan. And I ended up moving to Japan and I worked at Capcom from 2010 until about 2021, where I was a producer there. And, you know, actually speaking of the old, you know, bedroom, you know, we talked there about stuff like Devil May Cry 5 back in the day, right?
Long before it was announced. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And then, in 2021, I said, okay, you know what, I want to try something new, and started talking to Ryan, and we were just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and let's try to see if we can kind of grow the studio and kind of handle more projects at once. And yeah, they were already working on something else, and then I came on, and eventually we said, great, let's do it. Let's do Marvel's Iron Man VR for MetaQuest.
So then, Ryan, talk to me about. I mean, there's so much to talk about, and I want to go back and I want to talk about how Iron Man VR came to be, or Marvel's Iron Man VR came to be. Right? I'm thinking, but. Talk to me right now in the more recent time of, you know, you've gone from, you know, Konami, you've gone to Halo and what was going on over there with 343. Then you go independent. Why was Meta the people you wanted to partner up with, or why you wanted to go, you know, have them be the boss again?
Yeah, so in terms of like us becoming part of like a first-party studio. Yeah, you know, my goal for starting Camouflage 11 years ago was not to sell the company.
Sure.
It was to create a studio that has a healthy work environment where we create high quality, meaningful games. Like meaningful games is the big thing that Camouflage is really all about. And, you know, I think we did a good job with Republic, and then we did a better job with Marvel's Iron Man VR for PlayStation VR. And, you know, as we start thinking about what was next, really, really exciting. But one thing that really stuck with us, I think, through the last 11 years is that, man, the team really understands VR. And they love working in VR, right? And, I probably have to be careful about who I say came by, but let's just say that some very big video game executives stopped by Camouflage on the eve of the pandemic. This is a month before the first COVID.
You guys hear about this thing
in Kirkland, and they came by, played Iron Man, for PlayStation VR, and they were saying, well, Ryan, so what are you gonna do next? What's Camouflage gonna do next? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, we're talking to Meta about doing a VR game with them. But, you know, the team is also interested in PC, console, you know, just kind of competing in that space. And again, these are big time executives who run these large organizations, right? And they said, Ryan, why would you ever jump into this red ocean with us with doing PS5, Xbox, PC, high spec PC games when you guys are clearly very good at VR? Why don't you double down on VR, become masters of VR, right, in the industry. And that was like really, I think, the push that I needed to go sign that deal with Meta,
sure,
and start that project. And then the conversation just naturally led to, hey, we love working with this team over there. We work with them to bring Republic to VR, actually, all the way back to like the Oculus Quest days and stuff like that, or the Oculus Go days. And yeah, we just love those guys, and it just made like all the sense in the world for us to work with a team that really respects us. We love them, and allows us to really keep our focus. We don't have to think about what's after this next project. Where are we going to go around? Is it a different platform? Is it VR? Is it not VR? We can just really focus. Well, and we're just thrilled to be here.
There's a lovely documentary out about your very studio, Camouflage, on IGN still, right? That's where you can go. One of the easiest places to go.
The making of a Republic, yes.
Right. And it's that thing of, that is such a great window, at least for me as an outsider, and you tell me if I'm wrong, into being an independent studio, into making your own game, stuff like that. And not the pitfalls, but the terror, right? And I think we, as Kind of Funny, being independent, right?
You know how it goes, right?
We understand that, right? Of like, you got to pay the bills and you got to keep your staff happy and you got to make sure your staff happy, right, Mike?
Yeah,
You're happy, aren't you, Mike?
I'm very happy.
And so I think like when you talk about, you find partners in somebody like Meta, that makes sense, right? Of like, okay, cool, that's going to relieve some of that pressure and let you guys get back to just creating the games.
Yeah, it allows me to, as studio head, to just focus on making the games, for the most part. But there's something to be said. I mean, as you guys know, it like being independent, kind of calling the shots is really fun, right? But I think you get to a certain point for me in my career where I love making games. Yeah. I love making games with this crew.
You better.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And if becoming part of Oculus Studios, which is an organization that we really, really love as well, and that enables us, I believe, to make even better games moving forward, then heck yeah.
Sure.
Let's do it.
For sure.
That's really cool. Yeah, I want to ask Matt about VR because you brought up the Japanese games. Did you ever envision yourself making VR titles? What drew you to the idea of saying, let's strap on the headset and make something cool?
God, that's a fantastic question. Honestly, so I remember when the Quest came out, and I was like, this seems really cool. But, especially back then, like I didn't quite make a whole lot of money where I felt like I could just kind of buy like all the games that I always wanted. And so I always thought, this is really cool, but, I'm probably never going to buy one of these things. And then, flash forward to starting to work with Camouflage. And the first time I had ever played VR was actually way back before PSVR came out. A bunch of people at Capcom got a chance to try out the PSVR before all the games were even made, really. And so I tried that out, and then I didn't really have like a proper VR experience until I got into Camouflage, and they're already working on this other thing, and I was playing that, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. I understand what's so cool about VR now. And then finally, playing Iron Man on PSVR, I was like, okay, it's interesting because it's almost like the Wii, with these VR experiences, you can't do it on a television. The immersion that you get, it's a completely different experience, but you can't communicate that without actually trying it yourself,
Yeah, I like that. So now we're jumping all over the place, but Greg brought up like you had a really cool story of how you did Marvel's Iron Man. So let's talk about that, of course. Now
we can't talk about that, Greg, right? I'm teasing it. I heard you.
On top of that,
he promised me.
I'm going to ask you one. Name check the game you can't talk about one more time.
Yeah, right.
How many times we're going to start thinking, I played it and it was the experience. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, we got a lot of things going on, and it's really exciting. But yeah, the origin story for Marvel's Iron Man VR is a good one. So poor Greg, he's already heard the story. Your audience might have heard
this
the story.
Is like when you ask your dad to tell the story around the campfire one more time.
Yeah, I want to know.
I probably shouldn't hype it up too much because then it's only kind of downhill from here. But
the chat's like, that's
so here we go. So speaking of the ups and downs of being an independent studio, I'm not exaggerating when I say over the 10, 11 years that we were independent, I faced immediate closure 10 times. Wow. I didn't know how we were going to hit payroll, and we always did. But the scariest time, I think, was in 2016, in which we were working on an unannounced game. We were working on a battle royale game that we had started off in 2014, so years before PUBG, H1Z1, and all that. Right? It was just an idea that I had.
You had the idea for
this man invented battle royale.
Just saying. I watched this Japanese film called Battle Royale.
So good.
And I thought, this should be a video game. And I pitched it, and I got funding for a prototype. And then we started going to pre-production. And then a publisher that we were working with canned it, saying we're not so sure about this battle royale thing. Literally like a year or so before everything kind of blew up. But that's neither here nor there. We're friends now, still. But that opened up.
But you
again,
got to say it to them every time.
Of course, we can laugh
you
about
pitch
it
any
now.
weird idea, like, well, you were wrong about battle royale.
Remember that one time when, yeah.
But the cool thing is, like I was saying before, where I had that massive letdown of being let go on this project that I was so passionate about, right?
Yeah.
It opened up, you didn't know it at the time, with these crises, it opens up opportunity too. And so it opened up this opportunity for, okay, well, I guess we're not working on this other game anymore. Who knows what my life would be like if we had actually, I'd probably be still working on updates for that game. And would I be happy? Would I be sad? I don't know. But we wouldn't be working on VR, I don't think, right? We wouldn't be here maybe sitting with you guys today. I wouldn't be maybe working with Matt Walker. So I don't know, I think life is interesting that way. But anyway, I digress. And that opened up the door for us to figure out something really quickly. What are we going to do? And I was at E3 2016. It was the year that Marvel's Spider-Man was revealed on stage at E3. I was hanging out with my buddy, Brian Intihar, at the lobby of the JW Marriott in LA, and that's where all the business happens at E3, right?
100%.
I've heard the stories. I've heard the stories.
And he's like, and then the head of Marvel Games comes by, it's Jay Young. And Brian says, I want to introduce you to Ryan Payton. He runs Camouflage. And Jay says, I've been actually trying to reach you. I want to talk to you because I think you guys would be a great match to make a VR game with a Marvel property. Are you interested? And at the time, we weren't really ready to talk about it. But immediately, once we had that big change in the shift in the business, he's the first guy I call and say, hey, remember that whole conversation about VR, Marvel? Like, totally interested. Let's do it. Fast forward to me flying down to LA, talking to him, and I say, look, I just talked to the team. We want to do it, Jay, as long as it's Iron Man. We think that Iron Man and VR is like the perfect pairing. Yep. You know, you take the repulsors with the move controllers, you got your headset with the HUD, you got the rocket punch, everything. It's perfect. And he says, yeah, but Ryan, I'll be honest with you, we're saving Iron Man in VR for a bigger, maybe more established developer. No offense. And I said,
hit you like that?
Yeah, he hit me like that. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, Jay. I understand that.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
And I said, okay, so just to humor me, because I'm just curious, like, so for that developer that you're seeking, what are they going to do to prove to you that they could do a great Iron Man VR game? And he says, well, he's like, I know where you're going with this, but I'm never going to give you Iron Man, but sure, I'll humor you for a second. It'd have to be this budget. I'd have to see the best pitch I've ever seen in my life, and I'd have to play the best prototype of an Iron Man VR game. And I've played a lot of prototypes for Iron Man VR games, and they've all been terrible. And I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks with all those things.
What? Really?
And he's like, well, okay, whatever, but sure.
And clearly here we are now. So does that mean you nailed it?
And to be clear to the audience and us who are just checking, 2 weeks is a pretty quick turnaround for the best prototype that Jay's ever played.
Not only, and then so we've got I go to Enterprise. I've got a van going from Seattle to LA. We've got the team working on the prototype, sending us builds while we're driving down because we've got all the headset and all the equipment in the back seat. I'm working on the pitch on my laptop, hotspotting, and we're very close to running out of money.
Closure, yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was super high stakes game. And we got there. We got to the office at Marvel Games. We put together a great presentation. Really blew those guys away. We secured the budget for this game, and then the prototype. One of Jay's team members, jumped into there. And while we're doing the presentation, we're having meetings. We're talking about how great the game's going to be. And we look over, and the guy that who works with Jay, he's still in the prototype. It's been like a half an hour, and then. Jay knows what's going on. And then he's like, yeah, I think you got it. So we shook hands, and the rest is history. And then, we partnered up with Sony to bring the game to PlayStation VR. It was a great partnership, and we're really, really, really proud of the game on that platform. And then here we are, being able to bring it to even more players via the MetaQuest 2.
Wow, what a wicked, awesome story.
Oh,
That's incredible. That's a great story.
Thank you.
Right.
Can you imagine what the ride would be back if they said no?
Oh, man, yeah.
Well, guys, I need to call my mom for money for this Enterprise rent-a-van.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was more like that, I don't know, that one gif with like Ben Stiller where we're just like all having like Starbucks Frappuccinos and stuff like that. And it was like that the whole way back. It was just a big party. What
a relief,
awesome.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's huge relief.
But then it was the hard work of making the game.
And they're like, okay, now we got to make this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only are we going to make a game, we got to make this the best game possible. We got to make this the best demonstration of VR. And when the game came out in 2020, it really was a culmination of so many learnings and things that we were doing with VR to work with Sony to have the quintessential big blockbuster PlayStation VR title for 2020.
Yeah.
That's great.
How hard? But I mean, then so you're working on that game, right? Like, you have the prototype, and obviously the gameplay is what needs to be nailed. Like, and like I told the stream earlier, and I've said a million times when I talk about this game, right? I'll never forget that demo. How's he fly? How's he shoot? All right, you know how to play the game.
Yeah.
And it was that easy. It was that easy to get into. Where do you go with that then? Who starts writing the story? Are you working with Marvel Games on that? Like, are you talking to Jay and his team?
Yeah, we're working with Jay and Bill and Eric and the great team they have over there.
Yeah.
In a similar fashion, how they work with Brian and his crew over there at Insomniac on Spider-Man, where they don't dictate to you what the story is, right? Like, they're there to support you because I think they understand that they want to work with game creators that are passionate about these characters, passionate about these stories, and they say, what story do you want to tell? And we'll make sure that works within the universe, right? And then and guys like Bill really helped us out, and we really wanted to tell a story that kind of touched on the kind of the inner struggles between what Tony Stark has been as a character and where he's going. Because I think we can all relate to having inner struggles, right? And understanding, like, having to kind of overcome oneself. And so we want to tell a story about that. And so, yeah, Bill was super supportive of that. We worked with another Marvel writer named Christos Gage to bring some authenticity to the story. And just a lot of great back and forth over many, many years working on this title.
Now, one of Mike's questions is one I don't remember anymore. How long is it? This is the thing, because I think you bring up the prototype, right? And the guy kept playing it. That is how I also feel about Iron Man VR, and why I think it is so smart to have the star system, to have the challenges, to have another difficulty to go through. Because it is, even once you completed the narrative, it is, well, now I just want to keep flying. I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fun you can have post credits, but yeah, in total, we generally say it's like an 8 to 10 hour VR experience, which in the world of VR right now, it's a pretty hefty experience, right?
Solid.
Yeah, we push hard to make sure that there's like a lot of good content. Because when Sony said, hey, this is going to be a big title for PlayStation VR, we really took that seriously and tried to get as much high quality content there as we could.
For sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about now the transition from PSVR into Meta Quest, right? What was that like on your guys' side? Of course, we've talked about teaming up with Meta. Now, what is it like bringing it onto a new ecosystem? What are some of the hurdles? What were some of the easy wins that you guys had as a team?
Right. So, yeah, we not too long ago, I got a phone call from one of my good colleagues at Meta named Mike Doran, and he said, hey, what do you think about dusting off Marvel's Iron Man VR and bring it to Quest 2? And he said, look, we know it's a mobile chipset. We know there's going to be some challenges, but we think it could be really, really great on this device with the touch controls, with the great lenses, with the wireless nature of the platform. We know it's going to be tough, but it's camouflage up for the job because we're partnered with Sony on this. Sony's really interested in doing this as well. We've got a good relationship with them. And then I turned to my good buddy Matt Walker, who was already looking for that second project because I'm focused on a different thing right now, and so
what is it? Just tell us.
Guys gonna ease into that.
Keep doing it. Keep teasing it.
And then I said, hey, Matt Walker, what are you doing in the year 2022? You want to ship a big title for MetaQuest 2? And thankfully he jokes about this, but he really did go into the PlayStation VR version and just had a ball. It was, I gotta say, it was so like I'm just kind of like just gushing here, but I can't tell you as a creator, as somebody who worked on this game for so many years. We worked on Marvel's Iron Man VR so hard. We put so much into it. The whole team did. And then for me to be like working away on something else, and then to hear Matt Walker in the background play the game on PlayStation VR and just have a ball, just like laughing at all the jokes that we worked so hard on.
Like Kevin in there laughing
right now. And it was such a great vindication. The fact that he had such a great time with it was a perfect fit to give him the reins on the project to bring it to Quest 2.
Oh, absolutely, man. It was a ton of fun, and you're right. So Ryan and I, we're in our little office in Kamakura, Japan, right?
Yeah.
And just like you're saying, he's like sitting in the corner working on this thing, and I'm playing the game, and I can't help but like laugh at some of the great lines that you guys had for Gunsmith, for instance. For Tony, the writing was fantastic. And this was on top of just the experience of being able to fly like that, and having these great motions, like for instance for like punching and for ground pound and stuff. It all felt so visceral and immersive,
So for what Mike was asking, right, in terms of like what the challenges that bring it to Quest 2, what would you say are like when you think about the last, pretty short development cycle that we had,
Wow.
right? I mean, we started off in a really bad place, if you remember. We started off with a survey to the team where we asked them, do you think it's possible to ship Marvel's Iron Man VR on the MetaQuest 2 by holiday 2022? And how did that survey go, my friend?
Well, we did the survey, and the majority of the studio said, "Guys, we can't. It's not going to be possible. There's no way that we're going to be able to ship this thing, by October." And
thankfully, we had some friends.
And you're like, okay, you guys can have till November.
right.
And we said, not only can you have to, that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
You could have until November, not just October. But we can work potentially with these other pals that we had in Seattle.
That's right. We had some friends. We have some friends at a studio called Endeavor One, and so they're known for they've made this game on PSVR called Arashi. We were working with them. We were already kind of working with them. We said, guys, would you be down to help us out with porting this game to Quest 2? And everyone said, yeah, this is great. We love this game. Why wouldn't we do that? And we did. And sure enough, the first couple months, it took us a little while, kind of like getting like Unity upgraded and whatnot. But then after a couple months, we had Marvel's Iron Man VR running on the Quest 2, and it was nuts. It was insane. And I just remember the first time flying through Malibu. And with, you just experienced this, right? But with that cordless experience and just being
that's a game changer. Somebody who loved PlayStation VR, but being able to spin freely and move around, that's insane.
And Greg, I want you to be honest. I know it's a sponsored stream technically, but I want, if you don't feel this way,
this is high risk. Because they know I would be honest.
This is high risk question if you don't agree with me on this one. But true or false, the game looks great on the headset.
100%. That was going to be a question I'm getting to eventually. Where we're talking about what sacrifices were made, right?
The team just
not having played VR or PlayStation VR and Marvel's Iron Man VR in a while, I can't. I walked over to the piano and I was like, "Could I play this in PlayStation VR?" I can't remember if I could or not. No, so it's like, but like in terms of the look of it, no.
Well, on PlayStation VR, you couldn't go there because we only had teleportation because we only had the move controllers.
Right.
So we add because of the analog stick on the touch controls. We now have the free movement option.
Sure.
So, but yeah, just like even just visual, I think the team at Endeavor One and the support team over at Camouflage just totally knocked it out of the park when it comes to just squeezing the most visuals they could
100%
out of a mobile chipset. It was so impressive to me.
100%. Yeah. And so that's a question I have for you, especially as we're right here talking about the changes and differences between it. And this is going to sound loaded, so let me get it all out before you get offended. Is Iron Man VR on MetaQuest 2, is this like a redemption for you? Is it like another shot? Because I'll never forget.
Good question.
The game came out, the reviews popped, I was positive. I was like, the load times are too long and this, that, and the other. And I texted you and I was like, congrats on launch, man. And I'll never forget, it was the most defeated text I ever got back. Greg, period. It's a 72 or 76 on Metacritic, period. And I was like, oh no. I was like, yeah, man, but it's like, people still enjoy it. Like I always talk about, anytime I talk about VR and PlayStation VR, I talk about the PlayStation VR subreddit and how positive they are. And even they were like, man, I'm having a great time. And this is great. And it was like the feedback was there positive, but you're Ryan Payton and you want everything to be a 90. You want everything to be a 100,
I want it to be amazing.
So I know you guys did so much. Load times are better on PlayStation VR now. You've patched it. You've done these different things. But the one thing I just did there, I was like, damn, that's the fastest load I've ever seen in Iron Man.
Yeah. We and all credit goes to just the fact that there's an SSD on the MetaQuest 2, which is super fast. Just to digress on that real quick. The fact that the game's loading times are so fast, I can't actually give too much credit to the team on this one, which is a rare instance. It's one of the rare instances in game development where you get something for free.
Oh, yeah.
We actually were planning on spending plenty of time to get the load times faster.
Cool.
We didn't even have to.
Yeah.
It was from day one. It was like, wow, this is amazing. So, but to answer your question, Greg, I look back at maybe 3 moments in Camouflage's history where kind of unequivocally we had a great release that everybody loved. The first one was episode 1 of Republic. When that hit iPhone, iPad, global feature from Apple, it was euphoric.
I remember Mitch Dyer running through the office talking about, everybody's got to play this. Everybody get it right now. You got to play this.
It was awesome. The team, tears, hugs, everything. It was amazing. The second big moment for us where it seemed like everybody just loved it was that press demo you played of Marvel's Iron Man VR here in San Francisco.
Yep.
And your reaction to, I saw your email where you emailed me about it, about how much you loved it. And that was such a big moment for me and the team. And then we released that demo publicly. And then the PlayStation VR community just rallied behind the game and they loved it. It was such a good moment. But then the full game came out and we just didn't get that same amount of love as you're kind of referring to, Greg. And that was a tough morning for us. But as you mentioned though, things like the community really, really backed it. And then we shipped it in July of 2020. So fast forward a few more months later, we're getting to the fall, we're getting to like awards season, and we're getting nominations for VR Game of the Year from the Game Awards, right? And all these other places. And all of a sudden we're winning all these different awards too. It was this delayed gratification, I think, that the team got, but it wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to come out there with a bang, right? So, and I know I don't want to jinx it too much, but this morning, this is the launch of Marvel's Iron Man VR from MetaQuest 2. And I was really nervous last night. I barely slept. Like I slept maybe an hour, right? Maybe it's partly jet lag, some of it's nerves, because I want people to play this game because I think the team just did such a great job across all the organizations: Camouflage, Endeavor One, Marvel Games, our partners over at now we're within it, Oculus Studios, right? I want people to love it because I think it's a great game and they put so much work into it. And then waking up this morning when the embargo lifts at 5 a.m. and seeing so far it's been all super positive.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I actually just get all emotional thinking about it because it's awesome that we can put this game on this device, have more people play it,
new audience,
and have to a whole new audience, and seeing just like then the fact that like a bud of mine who works at Armature, who's part of Oculus Studios now, Zamkov, he emailed me the other day. He said, "Hey, I just saw a Marvel's Iron Man VR commercial during the basketball game the other night. That's rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So it's a good day. It's a celebration for us.
You deserve it, and that was the thing. I think that was what was interesting for me when I hit you up on that day, where it was like, congratulations, because I saw the positive swell and I saw the scores, which were great for VR games at that time. And then when you were like, oh, like you get to Game Awards, you get to nominations, you're still there because it is, as a critic, when you're comparing, and you used to know this, now you don't. You're all rusted over.
That's right. I don't know anything anymore.
You and Brian Intihar, get out of here, one-up show. You know what I mean? But you get back, right? And it is this idea of like, well, a VR game compared to the rest of gaming, but in a VR landscape, and what is that? And like, that's why I still talk about Iron Man VR, because again, it's been said a million times by people, but like when you get that VR experience that works, it's like a religious experience, because it is like, I get it and I see it, and I think even now, as we are still no longer crawling, I would say, as VR. We are walking for sure. We're still not sprinting. We're still not running, right? Like people are still learning and overcoming obstacles and doing these different things. But for what this game is and what it does, you feel like Iron Man, period. End of story.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing time to be, I think, working in VR, because the nice thing is we're not getting questions anymore about, is VR a thing?
Yeah,
which is really nice, right? It's now, but you don't get too much of a pat in the back. They're like, hey, you guys helped with Iron Man and with all these other developers, with Half-Life Alyx and so Tetris Effect and so many other great titles out there. You don't. Nobody's getting this big pat in the back like, hey, you helped push the conversation away from, is VR going to be a thing, to VR is a thing. When's it going to get even bigger?
Yeah.
But that's where we're at right now. And the vindication, I think, is not only does the Quest 2 sell really, really well, right? But you've got the Pico that just came out, and you've got PlayStation VR 2 on the horizon. Yeah. Just a vindication that this is a thing. VR is not only a thing, but it's just going to get bigger. Yeah. Right? It's super exciting.
Yeah, that's where I like to hear right now. It's like, where are we with you guys having a studio that is dedicated to VR at this time, right? Like the state of VR from walking to now kind of finding its stride and becoming, hey, this is a real thing. When will it be the next level? And so when we talk about Iron Man VR coming to MetaQuest 2, I mean, what is the future for you guys? You're teasing us with a new project, but like, what is the dream idea? Are we still in the sky? Do you do a battle royale like Population 1 that we see? Like,
I'm
what
not
is
trying to
next?
pencil you in, but like, do you want to go back to like your own IP, something like Republic versus something like Marvel's Iron Man VR?
We're doing something that's different, but we're building. Like all other VR game developers, we're building on the past successes and learning from the past failures, not only from ourselves, but from other developers.
Yeah.
I talk about how when you're making like kind of like flat screen games for PlayStation 5, Xbox, what have you, like the rule book is really
what an insult.
Really, for you guys.
I've never heard anyone say that.
Like flat screen games.
I've evolved beyond flat screens.
That's cool. Hey, if you guys like it, that's cool. Just do your thing. But the rule book for creating those games is really, really thick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. And the rule book for creating VR games is not, but it's getting pages are getting added every single month when we're playing games, and we're learning from other developers. And so, I think like there's still so much opportunity for VR as the headsets get better, as the game developers get more experience, right? I think this is just like what we're shipping with Marvel's Iron Man VR today is a window into the future of bigger games, more ambitious games that feel not like prototypes, like a lot of the earlier VR stuff does. They feel
This
like
is a great demo. This is a great
games.
idea,
Yeah,
right?
Now we're getting into like real game territory, and it's only going to get bigger from here.
Where do you guys fall with the MetaQuest 2 and then, of course, the next headset soon to be coming out, right, in PSVR? When we talk about the wired connection, right, the strength inside of just this without the wires, I mean, what does that give to you guys? Do you ever think, hey, Mike and Greg, you're going to have to be tethered into this one because it's just so demanding? Or do you think we'll always be able to get the best out of this headset with what you guys create being untethered?
Well, I'd love to know what you think because I know you've played, you've played Iron Man, for example, on both platforms a lot, right? But at least from my experience, like my personal opinion, is that I feel like there's room in the marketplace for both. Like sometimes you want to be just sitting on your butt on the couch that you're talking about when you're playing, PlayStation VR oftentimes. And this guy knows this. One of the things I'm so excited about next year is playing Resident Evil Village on PlayStation VR 2 with my butt in the seat, controller in hand, and just going for it. Like I'm very, very excited for that. But then there's also times where, like when you're playing Iron Man today, you just want to put the headset on and not have to think about the wires and just move around. Yeah. And also get really physical with other titles like Beat Saber and Supernatural and all those other great things. So I don't know. I personally believe that there's like it depends on the kind of experience you want, and I feel like the marketplace has got room for lots of different experiences.
No, I think you're right, man. I mean, and again, we saw, just like you guys were saying earlier, we saw this big announcement for PSVR 2 yesterday, right? Yeah. And you figure with the Horizon game that they're going to have on there, that they're going to have an amazing experience. Right. Yeah. And I agree. I think that there's gonna be room for both. But they're gonna be kind of different applications in some senses, right? I mean, either way, I think the way games are made, you can still do all the same stuff on the standalone headsets. Now you have to be clever about how you're gonna get the same kind of graphical fidelity. Sure. I think, but you can absolutely do the same stuff. And in some cases, you could kind of do more. Right, depending on what you're talking about, right? With the MetaQuest Pro, for instance, there's all of this. They have color pass through and stuff, right? And it seems to me like the kind of big deal there is going to be the kind of mixed reality stuff that you can do with that, right? Yep. Or
that's a whole other world, yeah. That's a new brand.
And that's them trying to bring those worlds together, right? Where you've seen the AR stuff and the VR stuff siloed, but then for this one device to bring all that together.
It really keeps us on our toes as developers.
I'm sure.
When you got all this artwork
constantly
coming
shifting,
out.
changing landscape that you're trying to make games work.
I love it, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, again, like where VR succeeds, for me personally, it has never been the graphics. It is the feel, the experience. I am in that world, right? Like, and I feel when you're talking about the mobile chipset and the things you have to sacrifice, that's when it's like, it's even what we talked about with PSVR back in the day, right? There was that screen door effect. All right, yeah, it's not as sharp as your TV. It's not as sharp as the higher priced units. But what it is good enough, and it gets you in there and gets you lost in the experience. That's where I played, Resident Evil
7.
Yes, Resident Evil 7, right? And I loved that. I adored that. And sure, when I did half the game there and half the game on my TV for review, and like the TV looked better, but being in the experience, feeling the hands on you,
second to none.
Yeah, you can't
it's
do
a
that.
magical experience.
Yeah.
And yet. Did you play Resident Evil 4 for
I haven't yet,
for Quest 2 for last holiday?
I haven't. No.
I mean, such another great I think example of how just the device can handle some pretty great looking stuff. For sure. If you build it the right way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the team had to do for development on this title, right? It's just like rethink how we're going to build the content to make it look great on that.
To an extent, right? There's certainly little tricks, that we had learned, like what's the best way to kind of make content for the Quest headset, right? And we ended up, using that knowledge. But then there's other little tricks too, stuff that even we haven't taken advantage of yet. For instance, Meta's got this amazing technology called application space warp. And now that sounds really fancy, right?
Yeah,
what it
is
essentially, you want your VR games to run at least 72 frames per second, right? So that if it's much less than that, what's going to happen is you're going to start to feel motion sickness because what you're seeing on screen doesn't necessarily match up with like the actual actions that you're taking.
Sure.
So application space warp goes, okay, we know that you want to run at 72 frames per second. You can run at 36 frames per second, and we're going to kind of use AI to an extent to figure out what you wanted to do between frames. So we're going to render at 72 frames, but you get 36 frames, and so you could do more with that stuff. And I hope that, for instance, maybe, who knows, maybe like on another title at some point, we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And then we'll show you that, even if you're not tethered, you can still get this amazing graphical fidelity on this.
Sure,
device.
sure. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
As we start to ramp down with them, I want to steal one more final question, and I'll let you wrap it up.
I mean, they're not leaving. They're sitting here.
I don't want
I'm
them to
playing.
leave at all.
I'm playing.
Right.
They can keep talking. They tell me how bad I am, what I should have done, what I missed.
No, you're feeling good.
I like hearing about the tricks and you guys being behind the scenes and seeing that. And as someone who has owned a Quest now for about a year and a half, and I've gotten really lost with a girlfriend of mine. We just had so much fun playing different games and connecting as well with multiplayer situations, which I loved. What are some of your favorites that you see on the Meta storefront and from these different developers? What are some of the cool ones that maybe we should look out for as you guys and developers you see that?
Well, as I was just mentioning, like Resident Evil 4, what Armature did on the platform it's awesome. It's a classic game, but playing that all over again in VR, being in that world is super scary and super thrilling. I absolutely love it. I mentioned Tetris Effect on VR with the Quest 2. I think it's really beautiful. Super Hot VR is a classic now these days. That with Beat Saber, there's actually just so much content now, and that's one of the things I'm really excited about for what's happening this holiday. Is that before people would ask me hey, should I get into VR? Should this is even before I joined Meta. It's should I get a Quest 2? And I was I don't know, maybe hold on a bit. Let the
Is there going to be a library?
Yeah,
Are
get
they
the library to kind of get more
yeah.
robust and more mature. And I feel like it's hit that inflection point where you don't have to hesitate anymore. Just go check it out. You're gonna have plenty of content to check out, and there's so
Vader
much good
Immortal.
stuff.
Yeah, it's a great call. Vader, you bring up, of course, Beat Saber and Super Hot. I have had multiple times where I just turn my camera on for my friends to see me jumping all around my room playing Super Hot. I love that stuff.
I would love to get that feed next time.
Yeah,
If you could let me know, I'd love to see that too.
It's a blast. I think it's really, really cool to jump into these games. Population 1, right? The Battle Royale in VR is a wild experience to see what they do with their mechanics on how you can fly and glide, right? And climbing up the walls and how they put that into work. And then when you actually play it and sit down at the tutorial, you're like, wow, this is really, really cool. This is a ton of fun. And I love a lot of these experiences that I've gotten lost in and enjoyed, right? So I love hearing what you guys recommend. What about yourself over there, Matt?
Well, I mean, for me, recently I finally got a chance to check out Song in the Smoke, 17 bits VR title. It's.
Do you guys know about this game?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard that one.
It's what I describe as a caveman simulator.
Okay.
And I think I actually convinced the devs to put Caveman Simulator on the game's thumbnail.
Yeah, so you have an idea of what it is?
Song of the Smoke, Jake, I think it's a really cool title. But
all right, let's get the artsy fartsy
let's
thing
get
on
this
it. What is this called?
It's a caveman simulator.
Oh, dude, using Katsuya Terada's artwork, no less. And what I love about it,
artsy fartsy. Okay, it's a caveman simulator,
Oh, dude,
and
it's a caveman
awesome.
simulator. But what I love about it though is the gestures, and the idea of okay, here's there's a crafting system in it.
Okay.
And the crafting system, it has all these kind of base materials that you just pick up as a caveman, and it's just this clever way of going, okay, well, if you want to make I don't know, a weapon or something, then you take those materials and you kind of bang them together like a caveman would do, or like I would do, and then boom, now you have your weapon or whatever. And I love their crafting system.
In the live chat, Oni Kaz says, "Song in the Smoke" by the devs of Galaxy, and then Kevin was showing there. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
They did Skulls of the Shogun, and they did Galaxy, and then
this is out right now.
Yeah, Song in the Smoke. It's out on PlayStation VR. It came out on Quest 2.
I'm downloading.
Cool.
Hold on.
It's
right away.
It's a fantastic game.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I like that, and
I won't forget. I need to download it now.
And we also talked about being tethered. I love that freedom of being able to choose. Like you said, there's some games that work so well. Of course, I get lost in Skyrim. Who doesn't love playing Skyrim and now elevating that into VR? I think that's so rad. And so, yeah, there's some cases where I'm not afraid to tether in and have some fun. You guys, of course, we talk about Iron Man VR here, single player. Has there ever been a conversation at the studio of what is a multiplayer before? Have you ever played Firewall 0 Hour, where it's a very tactical shooter?
That game.
I like that a lot. But
I love that game.
That's cool.
Quick side story. We're working on Iron Man VR for the PlayStation VR back in the day, and then me and the devs, we would just play Firewall 0 Hour at night. It's just kind of unwind.
That's rad.
And we're so good, right? So then I know some.
Humble.
And I know some friends over at First Contact, the developers, and I'm like, we're so good, by the way, at your game. And he says, oh, really? Do you want to do a live stream battle between our team and Camouflage? I'm like, of course I want to do that. Look out, guys. We're going to just smear the floor with you. And we got rocked. It was embarrassing. It wasn't one of the kind of fun kind of getting smacked around, it was like kind of cringy. Like everybody on the stream and the team didn't really know how to respond after that one.
Yeah, we learned that recently with Knockout City. We ran our mouths,
yeah.
and the devs from Balance Studios came, and they're like, "We'll show you something." And we thought we had it. We did not have it.
It wasn't
we learned
fun.
quickly.
No,
It's right. Yeah,
that's not fun. But that's a
there's
great
average
game.
gamers, and then there's the developers, and there's always a disconnect there.
Right.
Well, and there's
Still
QA.
casting?
Yeah, exactly. And so multiplayer. Like, how does that work? Of like, is that an idea you guys have ever thought about? Of course, thinking about all the different pieces now with the multiplayer game in VR. Can that work? Is that something you guys could tackle and really create something cool in?
It was something that Aaron Whiting, who's was the executive producer on the original version of Marvel's Iron Man VR, would just not stop talking about how fun it would be to do multiplayer with our awesome mechanic of you got the thrusters and you got the repulsors and you got your rocket punch and your ground pound, as Matt Walker mentioned, and how fun would that be to do that in an arena? Given the amount of time and the focus we needed to have, we decided just to keep focus on the single player campaign.
Okay.
But you know what? I would imagine it would play something maybe like what Ready at Dawn ended up doing for Lone Echo and Echo VR, where they've got Echo Arena.
That's a cool one.
And it's a cool multiplayer game for Quest 2. And when I play that, I see some similarities because I don't know if you've played the multiplayer game, but in all the Lone Echo games, they've got like little kind of like little pulses coming out of your palms as well, kind of like Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it's a really clever way to kind of maneuver around a world in VR rather than just kind of walking along the floor and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I imagine it would maybe look like.
I do want to compliment you. They have in fact added Song in the Smoke, the ultimate caveman simulator. They made it quite big too. They made it quite large to make sure it's downloading right now.
Yeah, my buddy Colin, shout out to him for making that change.
They should put the ultimate caveman simulator and then in parentheses Ryan paid.
Ryan said this. Yeah.
On it, little tribute to him.
Because it really is. It's awesome. It's like, what would it be like to be a caveman? And that's one of the cool immersive aspects of VR, right? Is that it's like I think. When you get into the game, when you guys play, you'll see it. It's like, whoa, this is what we might have been like if I was a caveman.
Oh
back in the day.
Well, that's great, and it's not just a caveman simulator. It's the ultimate.
It is the ultimate.
Yes, there you go.
Listen,
It's the
this
ultimate.
ain't just you're getting the real stuff here.
Oh man, just like Iron Man VR is the ultimate.
Look at that, Marvel's Iron Man VR.
Oh, thank you. Marvel's Iron Man VR is the ultimate Iron Man experience.
Yep.
Look at that load time there, Greg Miller.
Yeah, you're preaching the choir on that one. I see it. I'm
Out
watching
right
with
now.
2 eyes there.
MetaQuest 2. Type in ! Iron Man. Anytime to learn more about it.
Our sponsor stream, remember?
Do you guys mind if I do like developer commentary stuff?
Oh my God, that's why
we would love to.
I love that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Fun fact.
I love this. This is like like a live dev commentary.
Here we go.
Load times got so fast that we had to start talking about, do we just remove load screens from some of the parts of the game?
Okay.
Which is an interesting dev problem because load screens aren't always bad if they're kind of setting you up for what's like, for example, what you're seeing here. It's kind of setting you up for the next chapter. We've got little summaries about what happens. You can see over on the right. It's got like a story summary over on the left. It's got like gameplay tips and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it was an interesting debate we had within the studios, like which load screens do we just remove outright, and which ones do we keep in there for flow from a flow perspective. So I thought that was.
And so, how much did you cut? How much did you keep on that?
Probably about half of the load screens. Don't quote me on it, but about half of them went away because it was just so
Usually
fast.
I see the danger before it hits.
That's
even
really
from
cool.
20,000 feet.
I love that. I know you guys mentioned this before, but I love that the Quest just out of the box has this functionality where you can stream wirelessly.
But I wasn't entirely true.
You know,
Can't
it's
stop
amazing,
talking
right?
about it. And I can even stream it to my phone too. Like there's
That's the thing, right?
insane things where I can stream it to my PC, sure, but then I'm streaming it to my phone on a Discord call where my friends can see the screen. I'm playing it while screaming, playing super hot. It's wild.
Exactly.
It's very cool tech.
That's why I was so impressed with your guys' setup here.
Yeah.
It must have taken so much time.
Oh my God.
in engineering.
So much time.
Nobody can do
there's
it
a
but us,
wall.
guys.
We had a lot going on here, that's right.
Just once.
All right, so dev commentary. Tell us about that sync, Ryan Payton.
Yeah. What?
I have I could talk about so much stuff, but I should.
We want you to talk about all
That's
of
why
it.
you're here.
Yeah,
What are
you
you
tell
talking about? Hey,
I mean, what was the thought of
it's
like creating
available
this?
now. Everyone should go get it, and then they can play it without the
Look,
commentary.
I find this interesting, but I don't know if your audience is going to find it interesting. Like, for example, if you turn around, Greg Miller, and see behind you, or sorry, below, down on the
sorry.
counter.
We advanced.
You advanced.
I didn't do anything. I took it out. I did the thing. I can go over there now.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a stupid thing.
No, tell me what's.
Well, now I want to know.
Yeah, Ryan, we want to know everything, Ryan.
Okay, so because the Meta Quest 2 has the touch controllers, which has an analog stick, now you can move freely throughout the environment. It's actually it create a lot of interesting dev problems because you can go places where you normally couldn't go
because of teleportation before. So now I'm free to run around every step of the way.
Yeah. So behind that kind of juice bar, there was no textures back there, and the art's like, wait a second. Not only do we have to support, how do we get the game looking great on the Quest 2, but we have to like fill in all these spaces. Yeah. And it actually reminded me of my first day at Konami working on Metal Gear Solid.
Oh snap.
So my first day, we were working on Metal Gear Solid 4, but we were also wrapping up Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, which was the kind of director's cut version of MGS3 that added what they called a 3D camera. Because it used to be kind of a bird's eye view for Snake Eater, and then for Subsistence, they added this 3D camera where you could rotate the camera in any which way. And on my first day at Konami, I was asking, like, why are all these talented game developers just running around the jungle in Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, alpha version of it, and just like rotating the camera so much, like it looks like it works fine, guys. Like, why are you testing it so much? They're saying we're testing it to see all the things we didn't build because we didn't have to build it back in the day. But now, because the player can see everything, we have to like flesh out this world. And it really reminded me of the great work that our team in Endeavor 1 had to do to realize the game on Quest 2.
That's the stuff I would never think about. Like I was telling you, I didn't even remember that you couldn't walk freely, that it was only teleportation.
Yep. Are you guys a teleport team or are you a walk freely team? Because I find I like being able to walk. I really don't like teleporting.
Here we go, baby.
Yeah, let's get that.
Oh, that's the thing, right? I mean, obviously PSVR, those controllers are really cool, right? Those wands, like if they feel great for Iron Man VR. Mm-hmm. But now that we have these analog sticks on the Meta Touch controllers, it was like, it's 2022. People expect that they're going to be able to continuously move, and use those analog sticks. Yeah. Luckily we were able to do that. We're able to take advantage of that and move people around, right?
And we talked about only having continuous smooth movement, but there are players that just don't have the experience, or they feel a little bit uncomfortable doing that kind of movement mode. So we decided to keep the teleportation in there.
Smart.
For players that prefer to teleport.
Really smart.
Yeah.
So here now I can go back by the juice bar.
All right, now you're talking to the gunsmith.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff wasn't there before, so good job, team.
Yeah, shout out to the team. How much work is that now? Like you said, you're checking out Metal Gear Solid. Everybody's doing the 360 look. Now you're doing the same in your game. How much does that add on to the dev time? How much now thought do we have to add into all these different areas, boss? We got to go attack this.
Oh man,
what do you think? This is something you had to manage.
We spent honestly, we spent a good couple months of development.
Really?
Yeah. Not just creating this content, but kind of talking about how we were going to do it. And kind of what was going to be the best experience for the player, right? That was definitely a good couple of months of development right there.
Bet.
Friday, this is the gunsmith. Why don't you bring me up to speed here?
Hey!
Stop that!
I'm not a touch screen.
Gunsmith, show some respect. Shh. No. Miss Potts.
She's in hospital.
And the cowards that put her there? Still at large.
Leah LaBerge and Josh Keaton, their performances in this are so good.
I was going to ask you guys about that. We know Josh. Josh is another friend of Kinda Funny. Did you audition for him? Did you make him audition? Did you go right to him? Why was he your Tony Stark?
Oh yeah, totally. It goes back to when we were originally working on the game. We knew that we didn't want to just get like a sound-alike of Robert Downey Jr. because that's what everybody kind of associates with Tony Stark. We wanted to have somebody that really owned the character, and so we did a lot of auditions. And Josh doesn't sound exactly like RDJ, right? But the performance he had just felt so authentic, and you could just tell he had so much passion for the character. And speaking of Metal Gear Solid, I worked with him on Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence and subsequent games as well.
Cool.
And so it was really great to just kind of rekindle the friendship and work on a big game together.
Mike, you see that?
That's great.
I like to think.
In the sink, no problem.
Oh my God, look at that! I like to think that
we don't
Greg
read
wakes
here
up
and Kinda Funny
every morning He gets up and he just like walks over to a plate of fruit and starts throwing it around the house. Takes books, starts throwing it around just to see, you know.
Gotta give the maid something to do.
And yeah, you talk about that voice acting cast, right? You have a big name there with Jennifer Hale, of course. How did that come to be? What's that conversation like with the legend like that?
Oh, well, sorry, it also goes back to Metal Gear. Working with her.
Everything goes back to
Metal Gear. That's awesome. I like that. That's awesome.
It can't be.
And we've got, so it was a really easy conversation just talking to Jen and saying, hey, because she also came in and worked on Republic with us as well.
Cool.
And so she's worked on.
Huge get for you at the time. Remember, like, you know, you're granted you have a pedigree of making games, but you're a new studio making this new game. Your upstarts, your indies, and the fact that you got Jennifer Hale, because that was in the middle, right, of Mass Effect craze.
I mean, speaking of like we were talking about the ups and downs of the business. The ups and downs of the first 6 months of Camouflage were significant because we did a Kickstarter.
Okay.
That did not go well for the first 28 days. But one of the big bumps we had was David Hayter and Jennifer Hale agreed to get on camera and announce that they're going to be voicing characters in Republic, which provided a huge bump for us and really started this major momentum where we got to, we hit our $500,000 goal with 2 hours to spare.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And the whole company was betting on that moment, really.
That's
And
cool.
again, for
That's great.
video game fans, $500,000, not a lot of money for a game.
Oh man,
not a lot of money. Turns out we need a little bit more than that for Republic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that this is still here.
Yep.
So this, of course, is where the trophies you earn in game, or it would have been on PSVR, come up here.
That's right.
Oh, that's cool.
So these are the ones that
that's
I've already,
really cool.
Mike, I've already earned all these trophies.
I see that, Greg. And who thought of that? Like with these like subtle nods and like fun touches, who thinks of those ideas and is like, yo, that would be a cool idea. Let's do this.
You know, it's definitely a team effort. We play the game a lot. The poor team has to sit there and watch me play and review the game quite a bit too. And then on the chat, like people will chime in like, hey, what would happen if the player takes the cherry that Greg Miller was eating? What if you just hold it up to the player's to Tony's mouth? Will he use his tongue to twist the stem of the cherry? And so if you hold it there for a while, he comes out, it's all twisted up. Does that actually happen in the game? Yes, it happens in the game. And that was totally from one of the ideas from the team. So,
what a wild that's a fun idea. Okay.
There's lots of little things like that in the game that make it really fun. Lots of Easter eggs.
We were literally just talking about that in the green room, weren't we? About like there's all this difference. There was things that he didn't know about.
Yeah.
And he's the director of the game, right?
That's
it's
cool.
insane. It's insane. All these little, and it makes sense. But all these Easter eggs, these VR Easter eggs. You know, you want, because it's a VR game, you want to feel immersed in the experience.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you try things and then they actually work, you know, that's really exciting, right? There's a moment where you can where Gunsmith puts up his hand for a high five, and you can actually give him a high five.
Wicked.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
That's real cool.
Yeah, speak of cool, this is a really big moment in the game where we want players to really fall in love with just tinkering with Tony's suit. That's one of the biggest fantasy aspects of playing an Iron Man game, especially for VR, is being able to get up and close and personal with the classic Iron Man suit. This one's called the Impulse Armor. And just being able to customize it like Greg Miller's about to do.
That's really cool. That's well thought out. It's right. That's the dream, right? If you are Tony Stark, you get to play and create, right? And that's that fun thing Greg was bringing up of customizing not only the suit and all that, but also elevating the weapons and the repulsors. What was the thought process there? How deep is too deep, right? Before we say, oh man, that's a lot going on right there.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, you hit it on the head. Like, it was a lot of discussion about how to make it deep, but we also have to keep in mind that it's not a 60-hour RPG.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a 8 to 10 hour single-player campaign, right? And so I think we added just the appropriate amount of depth where players can swap out different weapons, different augments to speed up or quicken up their shield regeneration, get like more of their unibeam blast, which is a big feature of the game that Greg's going to get to pretty soon. So we just wanted to, again, have that fantasy of being Tony Stark in his garage, being able to customize and tinker on a suit, and also give players an opportunity to see the Iron Man armor in third person, see it in front of them.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the design challenges of creating a first-person Iron Man game, is that you usually don't see your suit.
Correct. Yeah.
So you notice
You
in the
do all
main.
this cool stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
you never get to actually
it's so
experience.
important that we have that suit station. You know?
That's really smart.
And
yeah.
really important that the main. That's why I really push to have the main menu have Iron Man present there as well to remind the player that you're going to become Iron Man. This is the process of you becoming Iron Man, going the first person.
Oh, and there's one other spot too. There's one other spot in the HUD.
Oh yes, your
In the
favorite
HUD.
feature.
Oh man, well there's this, and so you
Sure,
know,
wait, is there a spot where?
Yeah, you're going to see it in just once you load into the
that's
mission.
right. We're just about to see it. Yeah, we're gonna be able to talk about it in real time.
Cool.
In the HUD, we have this great little Iron Man that shows you basically it serves an important function actually of kind of reminding you like where your hands are and how you're flying.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, you're gonna see in just one second here
Gunsmith's brand of help
after you
came
watch
with
this
a warning
monologue.
label, but I was concerned about the night of, not the morning after. It all felt like stumbling back into an old haunt after years away. There's no judgment, no where have you been? Just what do you have?
Inviting Gunsmith back in the fray, is that a good idea, Matt Walker?
I think it's a great idea. I love Gunsmith.
What could go wrong?
Look, Gunsmith is a funny guy. He's got some great lines.
He does have some great lines. So yeah, if it's going to come across on the stream though, because he has to break
Yeah,
it
I'm looking
down.
down the best I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Little guy right there, though.
But encouraging, I suppose.
Little buddy. On the dev team, we call him Little Buddy.
No, okay, no, that is not true.
Oh, okay.
That is not-
Sorry, yeah,
I call him
buddy.
Little
That's what Matt Walker calls him. Nobody else calls him Little Buddy. But there's actually some legit conversations about whether or not we ship the Quest version with the little Iron
Little
Man
Buddy?
because we have to like optimize the game really significantly for the title. But again, my hat's off to the dev team. They figured out a way so we didn't have to remove anything. They got everything into the game, and it looks fantastic.
And I just love watching Greg play, and he's just turning around. He doesn't have to use the snap turns. You know?
Nothing
It's-
at all. That's right.
For me, one of the most exciting things was playing for the first time on Quest and getting good times on the very first the very first stage that you guys played, where you're flying through rings and stuff.
Yeah.
I originally had trouble kind of using the snap turns to like get good times on those.
Yes.
But on Quest, just being able to turn my whole body, suddenly I was getting like sub 1 minute times, no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
That's great.
So yeah, so we got ground pound. This is one of the
I
big
admire your handiwork, sir.
big tools that the player has in their toolbox.
Okay.
That we actually find that players don't use enough.
The punch?
Yes, that was something I'm going to ask you. It's like when we see Greg getting all these tools in his arsenals, what is some of it that's like, oh, this is usually neglected. Not many people use that. That's one of them right there?
So the content of the game is more or less the same that we shipped on PlayStation VR now on Quest 2. But if I could go back and change something, one of the things I think the team would agree with is that we probably should have added additional elements to really incentivize the player to use rocket punch and ground pound, because it's part of our arsenal for taking down bad guys. It's shooting, it's dodging, and it's also bam, 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 just like punching, using Iron Man's gauntlets. It feels so good. It's an essential and a quintessential part of the game that, again, I don't know if we just did enough tutorialization.
Yeah.
Because we were so excited about getting the player to these big missions and stuff like that.
Correct.
So this is, speaking of a tutorial, this is a big tutorial mission here to teach the player how to hover, how to ground pound, and then Greg's going to do a quick time trial, and then we're going to get to a full-on mission.
That's cool. Yeah, the learning lessons that you guys have had. You've been in this business for so long, the both of you. You guys know what kind of works, what doesn't work. Oh, we're still learning to this day, right? And so you'll take that with you. Incentivizing players to use all these mechanics.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let me talk real quick about the challenge of one of the many challenges making this game, and that is we couldn't lean on the player's previous experience playing other similar types of games, like you can do with almost any other game. If you're making a first-person shooter, either it's going to be the right trigger or it's going to be the X button just going to reload.
Yeah.
You know how to move around. You know how to shoot. It's always going to be the right trigger, right?
Gotcha.
When you're making an Iron Man VR game where you fly around, you rocket punch, you ground pound, what other games can we look to? Now, there's a couple games out there that kind of touch on that idea, but nothing like this game, and most people haven't played those games.
Yeah.
So we had this incredible design burden to get players to experience the joy of being Iron Man in VR and getting them into that experience as fast as possible, while also teaching them mechanics as quickly as possible. Such a challenge.
Well, and this is a perfect example right here. Right?
Oh, this is exactly.
Right here.
Yeah,
The
this is a great one.
Right? The idea of, well, I could just allocate a button on the controller to switching between my repulsors and my sub.
That's what you normally do, right?
Right? But no. You guys realized that it's VR. And what would Iron Man do? Iron Man wouldn't press a button. Tony Stark wouldn't press a button. Right, Greg?
No way, man. He wouldn't be pressing any buttons out here.
He would just angle his wrists down like so. And then rockets would come flying out of his arms.
That's brilliant. That's really cool.
There we go. I was hoping to time that.
So I was trying to get that last one for you.
I was thinking about something else.
That's on me. I'm doing a bad demo to 3, everybody. My apologies.
But yeah, it's such a clever mechanic. Palms open for repulsors, palms down for auxiliary weapons, and all credit goes to the team: Troy, Feggie, Ryan Darcy. I was actually initially against the idea.
Okay, you wanted more of the traditional press the button, go switch your gun with Y or something like that.
You don't like fun.
I'm not
He's
bringing
one of
the
these
real.
artists. He's trying to make his game all hoity-toity.
It's actually related to the previous point, which is that because we have such a burden of tutorializing and teaching, this is not your conventional way of switching weapons.
Okay.
So I thought, do we want to put this on the list of more things we need to teach the team? But because it's so compelling, because it really does exemplify like the fantasy of being Tony Stark, being Iron Man, we decided we're gonna take the tutorialization hit to give players this one-of-a-kind experience of having your 2 different weapon types be switched by just lowering your hands in VR.
But even
it's
then,
awesome.
right? Like the way we know Iron Man would test this stuff and do it, like it doesn't feel like this is totally out of character to sit here and do this.
Well, and Ryan, you give yourself a little bit of credit. And since this is like a director's commentary, I believe you were the one that came up with the idea of pointing at the menus with your repulsors, with the palm of your hand.
You're
is that right?
That
is that right?
That is true. So one thing that we found with the original version of the game is that players are really used to, with the motion controllers, used to having their hands up like this.
Okay.
When they're playing, but when they're selecting things in menus, they would like point
Turn it into wand mode, essentially,
basically. But we found that because we really wanted to teach players that our shooting is different than wand mode, that your shooting is like your controllers are upright. We tried to teach the player that in a kind of a diegetic way by having players select things in the menus, having their palms out like Iron Man, to kind of get their brains used to this new paradigm, which again comes back to this whole thing where I'm not looking for sympathy, but we had such a major amount of work to do to teach the player to do all the things that Greg Miller's doing right now.
Yeah.
Boosting, dodging, rocket punch right here. Just perfect, pixel perfect rocket punch. Ground pound.
I don't like the pressure of knowing that you're talking about it.
Yeah, we're all watching you. Is right.
I liked it better in my living room. I didn't know who was doing what.
Now,
without the peanut gallery.
What does that mean to you guys moving into whatever's next, right? Like reteaching people brand new mechanics. Is that going to be something that's easier? Are you going to elevate that of like, let's stick with the tutorial longer and then get into the story stuff? Is it, we just already showed you everything, quote unquote, there's a number 2, right? There you go, you're good to go. Like, how does that play in the studio?
Yeah,
with this conversation?
It's interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that we're talking about, again, kind of building on the shoulders of the other giants in VR, of what players have experienced up until now.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, with whatever we do next, is we're taking this approach of 1/3 of it needs to be the same.
Okay.
1/3 of it needs to be better than what it was before, and 1/3 of the game needs to be brand new.
Oh, cool.
And so we're trying to take that approach, and we're building on a lot of the learnings that we took away from this title.
So do you think that Little Buddy will be something that we'll see in games moving forward?
What feature?
Little Buddy.
That's right.
You got to have a Little Buddy.
Little Buddy. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Little Buddy. In fact, speaking of Easter eggs, I think, oh my God, I didn't test this for the Quest 2 version, but did you know that if you set the controllers down and you don't move, that little buddy will like idle and do like funny little things.
Little buddy will do funny things.
Yes.
There you go. That's pro tip. Pro tip.
Don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
But I love that in video games, people have now figured that out. Like a lot of people look for that idle animation, so they'll just leave it there. Like, what does Crash Bandicoot do?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just picking his butt. Okay.
Yep.
Nathan Drake's over there looking off to the other direction.
Yeah, Sonic the
That's
Hedgehog
fun.
is
I
just
like
like,
that.
you know, tapping
yeah,
his toe,
that's
right?
cool. Okay.
Did you guys talk about putting an animation in where little buddy picks his butt? Was that?
No, we didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
No.
Hey, man, there's always the next game. There's always, you know,
maybe an update.
do some DLC. Yeah, I was gonna say.
there we go.
Welcome back, boss. Thanks, pal.
I can't
Friday.
get over
What you working
how
on
good
over
this
there?
looks.
I've put together an early
And
warning system
again,
to track
just
our
being
frames
like
from the jet.
just streaming
Have a
it
look
like
when you
this and
can.
seeing that like all these assets look this high fidelity, man. It's fantastic.
The team did an awesome
Oh
job.
man, they did a fantastic job. It's amazing.
Hey, boss, I've added a dock on the right here where you can select which armor to equip and configure, your primary or your backup. Enjoy. Got it.
And so now what does this mean as a first-time player and seer of this, right? Does this mean I switch on the fly? Is this before every mission they say, hey, you want your primary or backup,
That's
Mike?
exactly
Like,
right. Yeah,
what is
before every
this?
mission, it's basically your loadout.
Okay,
'Cause what
my
we found
loadout.
was that as players were customizing their suit, their armor, they were going into missions and they're like, oh, I kind of want to have like a heavy kind of themed armor around these different modifications, and I wanted to have more of like a sleek kind of fast one for these types of missions.
Yeah.
So we decided to give like the player kind of like a loadout
Cool.
option.
Here we go,
Pretty
Mike.
cool.
Here
Yeah,
we
and
go.
also it allows me to play a little bit more with the customization and not be tied to one
That's
where
exactly
it's like,
right.
oh, I have to go back to the workbench every time and change this or change that. I do love the loadout. Oh,
Look at
okay.
that.
Hey
See what
now.
I'm saying over here, Mike?
Oh man.
So how many different outfits in the game for Iron Man's
Oh shoot!
suit
You know,
here?
off the top of my head, I don't know, but it's a lot, and we
Okay.
tied like a challenge system to them as well, so you unlock these different liveries by doing different things in the game to kind of incentivize the player to try to.
24 karat.
I love that you
all sorts
use
of
that.
cool
That's
stuff.
such a Forza word for me. I love that you use that. That's awesome.
You picked up on that.
Oh, I pay. You know right away if you play a lot of Forza like I do. You know that.
You know
real
where I
quick.
got
It's
that
right.
from?
Tell me.
The developer from Forza named Aaron Whiting, who works at Camouflage.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
super
he kept
cool.
talking about these what are you talking about, Aaron Whiting? Liveries.
Yeah.
It's this car concept.
Exactly.
The paint jobs,
Oh,
right?
Mike.
I love that you said that. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, that's the way I get that. That's right. So I guess I have two fun questions. First off, let's do this one. What is your favorite color outfits here from the livery? Is right. And then
from
also,
the livery.
what is the, we talk about these licensed games and working with Marvel, right? How much do they restrict you to say, hey, Tony can't have a bright pink suit, or hey, do whatever you want. I don't care. Have fun with it. We'll never see it. Stuff like that. What's the attitude from them?
Well, first of all, you want to start with, do you have a favorite livery?
I want to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me, I just honestly, it's the original. It's just because it's so iconic.
Boring.
It's so yeah. Absolutely, I am super boring, as you can tell.
I've known it for years.
I'm hesitant to say my favorite one because it's what everybody goes to, it seems like. And when I
Okay.
look at like YouTube videos, everybody's got the Iron Patriot.
Iron
livery.
Patriot's
But-
talking about that.
awesome.
But Chris Foster, who worked on that, like Chef's Kiss, looks so good, and I think that's a big reason why people choose it.
Sir, I've established a visual of our enemy's MO using their recent attacks on
But
your
working
buildings
with
in London
Marvel,
and
at least
Dubai.
from my perspective, it's been fantastic. It's been
Yeah.
the whole time, certainly during this project here, during the port here, we've just had a lot of great discussion about like, hey, what can we do to make this game as good as possible for players? Hey, what do you guys think about this? Hey, Camouflage, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah.
Have a lot of great back and forth, and it's been a wonderful discussion.
That's cool.
Yeah, it usually starts with a discussion, as Matt Walker said. And to answer your question, Mike, yeah, we showed up with a long list of the liveries that we wanted to do,
Yeah,
and here are the rationale behind it. And Marvel added some. We worked and that's usually how it works.
Cool.
It's not, what do you think of this? Approve or disapprove?
Yeah.
Or them coming to telling us like, you have to do this. It's always a collaboration.
Yeah, that's
which
really
we
cool.
appreciate.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, in a lot of game dev, I think you tend to you hear stories or people just kind of assume that like, oh, if you're working with an IP holder, it could be this, an experience where people are clashing, But
Yeah.
not for us at all. It's been fantastic.
That's great. That's really cool to hear that. That's awesome stuff.
And that's a big
case, let me
reason why
explain
we
the
are
code.
working with Marvel
It's
is
an early
because
warning
of,
system
again,
that
back to
displays current
Insomniac and
threats
Brian
and can even
Intihar and
anticipate
our friendship going back a long time. And
Grab the
the fact that he
rotation
was
ring
having
and
such a great
swipe it left or
relationship
right
working
to
with
spin the
Marvel, like
globe
really
to a
gave me a
mission
lot of
location.
confidence that I mean, heck, if Brian can do it, I could do it, right? You know, I could figure this out. And sure,
Yeah, you're smarter than Brian.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But,
No, we all know.
What's his Metacritic?
Don't get started with the Metacritic.
What's his Metacritic, right?
Wow, the room just got really quiet.
Well, and what's your Metacritic? Matt Walker's Metacritic is very impressive, by the way.
Oh, Matt Walker, you want to run me through the lineup? Because I'd love to hear. What do we got
I
under
think
the
his
belt?
most recent release is a 90+.
Oh man,
with the Devil May Cry
5 Special Edition on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
Say what?
Featuring
Man, that's
Dante
one
from
talented
Devil May
dude.
Cry.
That was
Right
my
now in
last
this
title of
MetaQuest
Capcom.
stream, they're all like, why is it? Why is it doing this? It doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah, no, that was a release date title for both
for next
Xbox
gen,
Series
yeah.
X and for PlayStation
Yes.
5. Yeah, and at least I obviously after reviews came out, it settled a little lower, but like I think at least like on day one we had a Metacritic where it was like over 90, and we were like the top PlayStation 5
Miller.
game.
Yeah.
Damn, never mind.
What?
I didn't.
You're going too fast. The
You
director commentary
you
time
actually
ready.
went. Sorry to interrupt you, Matt Walker. You went to where you should go. I wanted to show you something else, but we'll do that when you get back to the garage.
I'm
if we have
sorry,
time.
everybody. I just want to play stuff. What do you see Shanghai? It's very neon. Like you're
Oh, very cool. Yeah. I mean, okay, I want to go back to Matt because now I have even
please
more
go, Matt,
questions.
please go,
So,
Matt.
I want to
yeah.
hear about Shanghai myself.
no, we got to hear about all the games you made.
We can talk more about Little Buddy.
We can talk about Resident Evil Revelations. We can
Yeah,
talk about
Revelations 2. That was a big one for me.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, obviously a lot of really great people that work at Capcom. You know, and I got to learn so much from working there over my 10 years there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very cool. But yeah, look at this. It's Marvel's Iron Man
That's
VR.
wicked. So how
on
many
MetaQuest.
locations are we going to? Let's talk about the game and the locations because now we're going to Shanghai. We get to see nighttime as well. We're going to see some bright neon. How many locations? Where are we spanning?
jam-packed with a bunch of like fun Marvel references, all these
Cool.
different billboards that you're seeing from like.
Look at
from
this.
ARM.
Mike Oscorp. I know
Yeah,
you
it's
don't know what that
Oscorp.
means because
Yeah.
you don't even know who Galactus is, but look at how cool this is.
Yeah, the team did an awesome job with this. So we have a lot of like also like kind of iconic Marvel spaces, like the Shield Helicarrier.
Cool.
Obviously, we saw the Malibu mansion of Tony Stark. Some other places that would be kind of spoilery to mention. But yeah, that was a big part of again working with Marvel is how do we have a good mix of new things that are excite players and also classic Marvel elements, classic Marvel characters like Nick Fury and Pepper Potts and Friday, and also new characters like Gunsmith. Gunsmith wasn't from the comics, wasn't from the films. We worked with Bill Roseman and the team over at Marvel Games to develop that character. Who was inspired by the kind of an AI alter ego of Tony Stark from the comics.
Okay.
But our take on him was completely different with the name Gunsmith.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
that's really great.
Was Little Buddy in the comics?
You should talk to them, see if maybe they can get him in there. Yeah.
Could we do like a spin-off comic based on Little Buddy?
You love Little
Matt
Buddy.
is intent on making Little Buddy a thing, and he's got my sword. I'm in. It's happening.
Now you guys get like a picture, a window into my life, having to sit next to Matt Walker all day, making video games. It's very fun.
What a great life. It sounds like a blast.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
One of the things you talked about bringing Matt in, how did you guys meet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where does that relationship start, and how long does it take before you team up?
Oh, that's a great question, man. I mean, you know, I'm
Yeah,
just going to speak. I'm just going to speak.
Please.
I think you know we certainly knew of each other. And God, I remember when Republic came out. I tweeted at him, and I was like, "This game's amazing." And then I think I tweeted something. I can't remember what it was anymore. I tweeted something else, and like that was like a bad opinion or something. And like he just like he retweeted back at me. Well, that's like your opinion, man. And which is what from the Big Lebowski,
Yeah,
right?
which at that time I had never seen the film.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
No, so
I hadn't seen it either.
Just blindly quoting it?
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but go for it. Yeah.
Right? And like I don't know, I took offense of it because I'm an idiot. And then you know, of course, again, like over the years, we both do kind of different stuff or whatever. And then just by happenstance, a little while ago, before I joined Camouflage, he happened to be on a trip in Japan.
Yeah, can I speak to that a little bit?
Please,
I think this is interesting as we're, a big shadow over a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is the fact that, we shipped the PlayStation VR version of Marvel's Iron Man VR during the pandemic, during the first year of the pandemic. And it was tough, right? Our game was delayed because of it. And the team had to figure out how to do remote really quickly, like everybody else did. And it was a very taxing experience. So once we shipped the game, I needed to take a break.
Yeah.
And so and I thought, you know what?
Our block party seems to have moved to a new block.
I really miss being in Japan. I was able to spend about a month and a half in Japan, kind of just driving around in a rental car, going around the country. And this is during COVID, so not a lot's going on. Got to see a lot of like really wonderful things, and got to see some old friends. And I drove through Osaka, where Matt Walker and his colleague Pete Fabiano and Miguel Cordy working over at Capcom. And I just dropped by and said, hey, we should go get lunch. I'm in town. And not knowing that was like a very fateful lunch, because Pete was talking about doing something new. He ended up going to Bungie, and then Matt Walker ended up obviously joining Camouflage, and then his colleague at Capcom, Miguel Cordy, also joined Camouflage, and so now the three of us are working together. And holding up the fort at the Camouflage office in Japan, which is that trip opened my eyes up to the idea that we don't all have to be in Seattle or in New York to work together anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I kind of, along with other team members, we kind of moved, a lot of people moved to the four corners of the globe in a way, right?
Wow.
And so we have team members now in Bulgaria, in New York, in Arizona, Alabama, all over, Japan, obviously. Just have like a real global presence right now.
That's awesome.
And it's actually been really good for development, even though we miss seeing people in real life, right? But it's been really good for development.
Wow. This Shanghai level that Greg's playing is one of my favorites, and it's interesting because, we have talked about how importing the game, there's different things they have to do to try to make it look as good as you can, right? Yeah. And the team worked really hard on this space. They worked really hard on it. And so, for instance, like if you look at the windows and stuff, they did their best to like go, what's the best way we can kind of bring an artistic bent to this where it looks good and is believable.
Yeah.
And I think they did a fantastic job in this space. I love it.
Yeah, speaking of which, this is what's we do a lot of surveys, like whether it's internal playtesters. This cinematic space that Greg's about to go into typically rates really, really high. It's one of our most loved spaces, I think, because it not only looks good, but it's got like a spooky bent. This is where we introduce our main villain of the game.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of great VR interactions, which is one of the things we really want to do with the game, is to give the player the fantasy of being Tony Stark, the fantasy of being Iron Man in VR, and being able to interact with lots of different cool things.
I also like that we're playing in VR and we can just see Greg just staring off into a wall.
That's another one where I'm like, okay, I'm way off.
Do you have to reposition,
He's
Greg?
been moved all over the place, too.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that was not me. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good call, Mike. Good call, Mike. I was so far off. I was like, where is
for a little bit, and I was like, he is not on his mark, everybody.
Matt Walker and I were just like, is everything okay with the build here?
I was just thinking, oh, sweet Jesus, please no. Please no, not a
Did you
bug
know
that
you
we
can
didn't know
move the
about.
glass with your hand when you will go up that staircase?
Move the glass?
You can poke at the glass and it falls.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
Like
that's one of those amazing little Easter eggs there that the team. I know. I remember. I saw that on PSVR and I was like, oh wow, that's clever. That's really clever. I think my only complaint about this space is that you can't see little buddy in the HUD right now for some reason.
There's a distinct lack of little buddy. You got Rocks on there, Mike. You got Hammer Industries. There's Oscorp. Again, you don't know any of this stuff. You don't have glasses.
I love all the like AR stuff too that you guys put like you figure he's Iron Man, right? So like he when he puts on his AR glasses or like when he's in his suit, like there's gonna be all these AR things that show up, like here's the weather and here are the stock prices. I just think that's so cool.
And not knowing that we would be shipping this game within weeks of where the Meta Quest Pro comes out, where they are doing lots of interesting AR stuff, and it's like a nice kind of convergence of the sci-fi with the reality of what's happening with hardware, which is super cool. Have you had a chance to check it out, Mike? The Quest Pro?
No, I've only seen the press release about it. It's funny. I was just going to ask you guys, what kind of excitement level do you get out of that as developers looking at a new piece of hardware in the VR world? That's pretty exciting.
Well, usually we get scared.
Okay.
Before excitement.
For yourself.
We love trying to support the new hardware, even though it's just yet another thing to do before you get to launch.
Yeah.
And so the game runs great on the Quest Pro. It's obviously got those really, really slick and nice pancake lenses.
Yes.
Where the game really looks great on those.
Cool.
The Touch Pro controllers have really fantastic haptics, and so the game feels really good and sounds really good because the speakers on it are enhanced as well. But we didn't go overboard with supporting the Quest Pro because really the target hardware for this for Marvel's Iron Man VR is the Quest 2.
Yes,
that's where the vast majority of the consumer base is.
Yep.
And Meta does say this publicly. They say that the Quest Pro isn't necessarily it's like a productivity device. It's not meant to be just focused on gaming, right? It's supposed to do lots of different things.
Yeah,
big time.
Had a girlfriend who was in nursing school, and the school there invited half of the class to use MetaQuest Pros and actually do a lot of lessons and teachings in the VR space.
That's super
which
cool.
I thought was really, really cool. And you're so right. Like for me on the Xbox side, I know we talk about HoloLens and what they did with that. And, you know, you look at the gaming side, but there's so much utilization you can do with these VR headsets that is really, really special.
That's right. Yeah. It's like it's so cool to work with these to work with like the hardware team to see what's on the horizon. So many smart people.
Yeah.
So much technology that people have been spending years and years and years researching and finally seeing it be realized in the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro, and then for subsequent future hardware as well. I don't know, the future for me, when I look at the world, some stuff is really exciting, some stuff is really scary, but when it comes to VR hardware, to me it's something to really, really look forward to, is where everything is headed.
That's cool. And Matt had the confidence and the bravado, which I really like. We talk about the Pro, right? And you guys being now with Meta and being able to work so close like that. I mean, there's got to be a huge excitement level of, okay, what's now capable on this next device?
Oh,
right?
dude, and I mean, and you know, now that we're part of Meta too, the idea that we can just super easily like get on like the internal chat and go, hey, person that worked on this hardware, hey, person that worked on this software, you made this, and you know, and we've done that with certain aspects already, where we've gone, hey, it would be great if we could get together and let's you know, we have content creators here, let's have you guys jam and figure out, you know, what's going to be something that's going to be really cool and just like be awesome for people.
And you know what happened earlier today, Mike, just on our way over to your studio, is that Matt Walker says, hey, not only are we having to not only are we reaching out to internal developers working on hardware to talk about like what we can do together, but they're reaching out to us.
Yeah.
And they're excited about what we're doing.
That's
cool.
And
that's super cool. And I think I think it's a testament to how the game has been received so far today. With the release. I think people in the company are seeing that and they're excited.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about Easter eggs here? Because Roseman's, is this a Bill Roseman reference?
That is, yes.
Cool.
I believe there's a Roseman store in Spider-Man as well.
There is as well, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so there's a lot of little Easter eggs here.
Does the date signify anything, do you know?
All the dates have something.
I'm pretty sure that's Morse code for little buddy.
Dude,
little buddy.
No more little buddy. If you say little buddy one more time, Matt Walker, we're gonna have a little bit of a timeout.
He's serious too.
This is another camouflage veteran, longtime collaborator. Dwight Schultz voiced that character right there.
Cool.
He did Overseer in Republic. He played Harmon in Killer 7. He was one of the villains in Spider-Man.
And he's known, maybe in my eyes, best as Mad Dog.
Mad Dog Murdoch from the A-Team.
On the A-Team.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a very special place in my heart. Who doesn't love the A-Team?
That's a great show,
right?
Ah!
This is a great moment. A lot of people love that jump scare.
Well, yeah, and that jump scare is inspired by a game that you didn't work on directly, but on the cursory was.
I know people that worked on
Resident Evil 7.
That's right.
So Resident Evil 7 for me really opened my eyes to the power of VR, even though it wasn't a VR exclusive game.
Okay.
They did a lot of stuff that most people would say you can't do in VR.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes what you get in development, especially when you work in VR, is that you get told that there's these rules and then you work around them.
Yeah.
And in without spoiling anything, in RE7, there's a moment where you think you're about to grab something, and then right in front of you, you get like a guy's hand, and he twists your head around. And yeah, like if you were just to tell somebody that you're going to do that, they're like, I don't think you can do that in VR.
Yeah.
But it's all in how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think the team did a really great job of implementing that moment. It was inspired by that moment from RE7, actually.
That's fun.
You can see stuff like, stuff that you guys did, like, vignetting when you take control away from the player and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, too. All of these little tricks.
And then, of course, in VR, you can do fun stuff like this as well with Greg. Yeah.
There's a Justin Roland's game, The Accountant, which is hilarious, and he accounting plus. He does really funny stuff where players, when they kind of poke at the wall of VR, he's like, "Oh, you're so funny. Oh, you're so clever. You're trying to break this VR world. Look at you. Keep going." You know how he loves to break the fourth wall like that. Accounting Plus is another really
amazing.
Great,
right?
That's a good one. Yeah.
He's gonna throw that brick. He's gonna throw, and then you just hold on to the brick. He's gonna throw it. He's gonna throw that brick any second. Now
He's so good at that stuff.
Incoming surface-to-air missiles.
Now, speaking of ground pound,
Yeah. So here's a
It's
moment.
time.
it's time.
Here's a moment where that full arsenal really comes in handy.
Yes, exactly. And so you noticed what players were just sticking mainly to the repulsors and shooting more than punching and ground pounding like we talked about just a little bit ago.
That's right.
One thing that I don't know that we ever tutorialize is that you can ground pound and then you can go right into a 3-punch combo. Right?
That's right. So it's like kind of like flipping like a turtle from Super Mario Brothers on its back, right?
Yes.
So you can ground pound next to the hover tank there, and then he flips up in the air, and then you can either shoot him to bits or rocket punch, like 3-punch combo, boom, 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 and it's really great.
Ryan, please. They're called Koopa Troopas. Okay.
So yeah, this the guy's got the Mario branded.
Please.
My
Zelda. I'm wearing my nice hoodie today. I'm wearing my nice game dev hoodie today. This is the Zelda one. It's from Kyoto.
It is very cool.
From
Yeah.
Kyoto.
I like
called-
that. I like
and
your
it's-
your scarf that you got. So let's see if Greg Miller can do it.
Did I destroy it? Ah, it was right behind me. I am bad at the punches. Like I knew that in the first version too.
So this is why Greg needs to work on that for his second playthrough here. He needs to work on the punches and the ground pounds.
And seriously, I know that Greg Miller's got a lot going on with the Kind of Funny Empire, being a dad, being a husband.
Yes, he does.
But if he ever finds time to play through the game on the ultimate difficulty, it's a whole other experience. And for players, for anybody who's listening and watching, if you played the game on PlayStation VR and you played it, presumably you played it on normal mode.
Yeah.
If you play the game on MetaQuest 2, highly recommend you play it either on hard or very hard.
Okay.
It's a different. I mean, the content is similar, obviously, it's more or less the same, but the experience is so different.
Cool.
One of our colleagues over at Oculus Studios, Mike Doran. He messaged me pretty close to the end of development, and he said, "Ryan, I just played through the game on very hard, and I feel like I've had the time of my life.
It's awesome.
It's a totally different experience.
right?
So,
He said-
but you got to get ready. You got to build up. You got to learn all these mechanics before you jump in there. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, he said he literally said it was like one of the best experiences he's ever had in VR, and that's coming from, I'm pretty sure his official title is Grand Poobah of Games at Meta.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. Knows
That's
his
wild.
VR.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That's great.
that was the ultimate compliment.
Grand Poobah. One of the really cool things about this game that I would imagine it's easy to take for granted are these moments, are these superhero moments, where you're put in a situation where as Iron Man, it's not just flying around and shooting stuff, right? It's like being able to do cool stuff like ripping bombs out of, scary situations and, fixing doors.
Which it sounds so elementary. It's like, okay, you're working on an Iron Man game, you're working with Marvel. Of course, you need to have this character do superhero stuff, right? But when you're in development, sometimes you lose sight of what you're working on. You lose the forest for the trees, right? And we legitimately had a meeting down in Glendale with the Marvel Games team where they said, hey, Ryan, the shooting and the flying feels great in Marvel's Iron Man VR.
Yeah.
But we just don't feel much like a superhero right now.
Oh, okay.
And I remember taking grave offense to that at the time because I'm like, what? They don't like our video game? Like, we're working so hard. But on the way back to Seattle, I'm like, you know what? They're right.
Okay.
Being a superhero isn't just about flying as Iron Man. It's not just about flying around and punching and shooting stuff, right? It's about saving people. It's about being a hero. It's about self-sacrifice. And so, to Matt Walker's point, you can see a lot of that happening in this game, especially here in this Shanghai mission and what Greg Miller is doing here right now, which is scanning this building, see how many people are whose lives are at risk of what Ghost is doing, and then giving players stuff to do to how to fix that problem that isn't just punching and shooting and flying.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And now that we've had the reveal of Ghost here, why Ghost, right? Like, so many characters and people that you could add into this universe. Why this one?
See, this is a great example of where Marvel came to us with an idea.
Okay.
where we didn't initially pitch them. It was a really organic conversation. Myself and Brendan Murphy, who's the lead writer on the project. We were down at the Marvel Games office with Bill Roseman and the crew, and they said, "Okay, so yeah, the story's kind of coming together, but like, what are you looking for your villain?" And we said, "Well, we'd like somebody to be kind of in the shadows. We don't want to take too much away from Tony's also internal struggles that he's having with Gunsmith and everything. Somebody that ideally could like hack his HUD, hack his armor, and be kind of like, I don't know, like a ghost from his past."
Yeah.
And it sounds like I'm making this up, but Bill and one of his colleagues over at Marvel Games, they turn to each other like it's a sitcom, and they both say ghost at the same time.
Of course.
Oh, cool. I hadn't heard that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And that was it. And so we worked with a really amazing actor named Chantel Berry, who voiced
So good.
Ghost. And we were working with her on another project that ended up not seeing the light of day. But we loved working with her so much, and she's so talented that she was the first person we called in to audition for Ghost. And I think she just did a fantastic job. There are some moments with Ghost later in the game that I defy anybody to say like isn't just not only a really great performance from an actor perspective, but just the way it's communicated and the way it feels in VR is really, really special. Really a good reason to play the game and see it all the way through.
And she's got some really important motivations too. Obviously, without spoiling too much here, you know. And I think she's such a well-written character in that regard, you know. And so combine the writing with that fantastic acting, you know, and a really cool design. Frankly, I think she's got a really cool design too.
Yeah, and that was fully original from our team. We took elements from Ghost from the comics.
Oh wow, okay.
And this is before before Ghost showed up in one of the Marvel
movies,
films.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
of course.
So we did that all independently, working with Marvel Games, and then when we saw the announcement, we're like, oh wow, they were kind of going along the same wavelength, but we had different costume designs, and we're really proud of the one that we built for this game.
Oh man, great job, you guys. Yeah, it's funny, you know, now looking back on it, you get introduced as a casual fan into Ghost at the movies, and I see that, and I'm like, oh wow, so close. It's right. That's wild to hear that story.
And the interesting thing is, back in 2018, 2019, Ghost was never a woman.
Wow. Okay.
And so we had the same idea that the film teams had, which was, hey, this is a great opportunity to have more of a diverse cast, to bring more strong female characters into the Marvel universe, and we both independently had that thought.
Rad.
Super
Wild.
cool. Yeah.
My God.
Tell me no one was in there.
Correct, sir. All clear.
All right, we've got a big battle coming up for Greg Miller. Let's give him some time to see if he can sees him apply all the different tools that he's learned up until this point.
Oh, here comes another.
This is definitely gonna be one where that punching comes in pretty handy.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as I got little buddy, I'm okay.
There you go.
Okay, that was Greg.
That was Greg.
That was Greg.
What are you gonna
Matt
do?
Walker,
Peyton
we
in the
talked
street?
about this. We talked about this.
These victims have power. I speak for them, and on their behalf, we say farewell, Stark.
Friday, get ready.
Greg Miller, get ready.
All right. It's punching time. Ooh, there you go. Nice.
She's throwing everything at us.
I love that the objective is survive.
Just
Survive.
That's never a good sign in a game. You're like, no, it's about to get heavy. Oh no! Wait too long.
Right, Ben, I'm curious from a game design perspective. Are there any like game design things that you're not a fan of, like specifically? Like, so just for instance, I think there's a lot of people that don't like being timed. That don't like having a time limit.
Okay.
Sometimes like in certain games. Curious if you got anything like that.
Yeah, I probably do.
That's
I'm sure you
interesting,
probably
yeah.
do, Mike. Yeah, the games
Wave-based
that you play.
well, I'm playing a lot of Call of Duty right now.
Yep.
There's a Spec Ops mode. There's this really cool idea of jumping in with some other person and kind of playing really stealthy, like we talk about with Metal Gear. And the first Spec Ops, that's what it is. It's like, oh man, this is a really cool idea. And then it goes to the next one, and it's just a tried and true, boring formula of here's 3 points. Stand at these 3 points and hold on for dear life for 6 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm bored of that now.
I think you hit it, which is basically it kind of depends on how you do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just the mechanic in and of itself. So for me, I don't think I'm against anything. It's really, is it appropriate for the moment?
It's good. It's good. I like that answer.
More
like that, yeah.
diplomatic,
It's a good diplomatic
answer.
answer. It's fantastic.
That's smart, is right. And how do you play with it, is right? Bringing something so stealthy into a Call of Duty, for example, is so different than how you normally play it, right?
Yeah.
I am used to going to the point and being Rambo and going all out. You don't really slow down in that game, so it was fun to be like, hey, slow down, work with a teammate. What does that feel like? It's different in a Call of Duty situation, like you say.
That's right.
Which
And
is cool.
you know, as developers, I think typically you look at the tools that you have in your toolbox, and you also think around what time of the campaign is the player ready for something new?
Yeah.
Are they ready for something fresh?
Ooh, good point.
And without spoiling it, as you get deeper into the campaign, we mix up the formula. We take stuff away. We add stuff. We slow things down. We speed things up. It's all part of the process, I think, of just kind of keep it fresh for the player. And I think it's also part of like that Marvel Games formula too. I think that they're really good about just keeping players on their toes. I feel like the Insomniac games really do a good job with that as well.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, here we go, Greg. It's time for the payoff.
John Smith, stay off this channel.
Boss, before you left, I packed you a hot lunch. I call it the enabler.
I packed you out.
Do you love it? You love
I
guns.
love the Gunsmith so much.
My old Unibeam?
So here's one of the big features of the game.
There it is.
The Unibeam, classic Iron Man weapon.
Coming out of the chest
destroys.
piece.
Coming out of the chest.
Cool.
Exactly. Coming out of
Very
the arc
cool.
reactor.
Yeah.
Take a memo, Friday. That's how you win a fight.
Put a sock in it, dumb Smith.
Ooh, Dumb Smith.
Dumb Smith got him.
That's a sick burn.
One and done. Oh, yeah, little
Fun little playful back and forth here. I
yeah,
like
a little
these
bit, a little
two.
tension
Yeah,
here,
this
a
is
little,
cool.
little angel on your shoulder, little devil on your shoulder.
Yes.
blow up bots to charge the Unibeam. Circle of life, boss.
So here, we're teaching the mechanic of, you've got your special, which is inspired by like how specials work in Street Fighter, for example, where the more hits you get, the more your special meter starts to grow. So in order to unleash a Unibeam, you got to take down lots of different enemies, and then the meter in the top right corner fills, and eventually once he gets 100%, he can kick off another Unibeam and just absolutely rip through enemies.
Okay.
Please, Ryan. They're called super arts.
Super arts, yes. So not specials. Destiny, it's called a special. So yeah, it got mixed up.
Try to be more clear.
Yeah. Is it a special or is it a supercharge? I can't remember. Now I'm mixing up all my games.
In Destiny?
In Destiny, what's it called? Maybe somebody in the chat will remind me what's it called.
It's called Pete Fabiano. He'll tell you.
He would know.
There you go.
90% charged.
Almost. Unibeam is reaching.
All right, here we go, baby. Oh, Greg Miller's playing pretty good.
You're starting to talk like me. Here we go, baby.
Yeah.
I'm
spent a lot of time together.
I'm dangerous. I rub off.
And the Unibeam tied to his headset right there as he's moving around. That's where the aiming is coming from, as we see right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
So for really advanced play, this is something that I haven't mastered yet. Is actually shooting a Unibeam while doing other stuff. You know.
Yeah, while flying
Of
around.
course.
Flying around and still using like
Yeah, well, yeah,
the
if it's tied to your
stuff.
head. That's so smart. Right? You can still move around and handle all that. That's pretty cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I bet the
That's
people
an
that are really
advanced
good at
technique.
ultimate mode can probably. do some
You
cool
kind of
stuff
have
with
to
that.
in order to survive. Yeah.
And Friday?
As I said, sir,
This is also fun to see the back of Greg Miller playing a video game.
He doesn't.
He's all over the place. Once you get immersed,
I'm
you're
not
immersed.
complaining.
You're
I
lost.
think it's
is
cool.
right.
You look like a badass.
I'm
is what
up there in
saying.
Shanghai. I don't know what's going on.
He's
back
looking
here
for
in
a
SF,
5-star
all
right now.
I did not 5-star this, guaranteed. But I felt good about it.
Yeah, no, you did good. You did good. See, I think that's a solid 4-star.
Okay.
Look at that.
I'll take it.
Solid
I'll take it.
4-star. That's
Solid
nice. That's
4-star.
encouraging to hear, Greg.
It is, Mike.
He unlocks some research points, which you can then use to unlock new ability or new enhancements to the suit, like the armor at the suit station.
And what are some cool creators you've seen now jump into the game? Because you talk about the VR space, and we've talked about you guys on the creation side. There's also content creators that do some really cool and unique stuff in the space.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people in Beat Saber go full green screen and do really cool stuff. I've seen the gentleman with the full vest, that the tactical vest is popping off on him while he's playing. Have you seen cool creators jump into your work yet?
So
do
yeah,
something
there's
wild?
definitely some kind of DIY types of things we've seen in terms of like how to like different augments you can put onto your actual VR headset.
Yeah.
We've seen that's really interesting, but also like just like on the content creator space. I've watched some really cool YouTube videos where, for example, like Wolf in VR, he'll play through our campaign, but kind of like pretend like he's Tony Stark and kind of he's like pantomiming and just making it really cinematic.
Yeah.
And then Nathy as well. Nathy did a full like 8-hour video where it almost like treats Iron Man VR like a very long extended feature film.
Wow.
And cuts out a little bit of the fluff here and there, but just like you can just experience the whole game that way from a story perspective, right? And then he throws in gameplay there as well. But I think it's so cool to see as creators because one of your fears is that is somebody just going to watch this on YouTube, for example, and not want to play the game? But what we found at least is that we hear a lot oftentimes from the community is that they see it, they get inspired, they say, I want to do that. And that's really the power of VR, right? It's like, I want to be immersed, I want to be Iron Man, now give me a shot to do that, right? And now that we've got that opportunity, now that the game's on the Meta Quest 2, which is a big platform, big audience, and hopefully we have a lot more players
Mike,
checking
you
it
wish
out.
you could do this.
You're
many
getting
curls.
some curls in, Greg. I appreciate that. Another fun one of just like a cool time. Throwing that across the building is right.
That's just part of Greg's daily routine. He wakes up, he starts throwing books around and
Makes a
fruit around,
smoothie.
Yeah.
and then and then he takes weights. And
This is what it looks like in the office 7 days a week with Greg. Is
Whenever I
right.
get here. I know there's trophies attached to this too, Mike.
Yeah,
so
there's
I
all
got to
that.
fill out this
He
stuff
knows all this.
downstairs.
Greg loves trophies,
Yeah.
is right. Not a lot of people know that about Greg.
Achievements, I believe, that we're talking about.
Achievements here on the
See, I was getting
too.
around it because there are trophies on the shelf downstairs.
That's
so
true.
Yes.
That's true. You're
Don't
right.
worry about it.
You're right.
MetaQuest, sponsored by MetaQuest.
Ryan, I'm curious. This is actually an interesting time to ask this, but look at this. You can do all this fun stuff up in Tony's mansion. You can punch a punching bag because, of course, there's the basketball game
Right.
there. Like, where did the idea come for that? For like in all these interactions that we have, we should also have stuff like this.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
It goes back to like the initial meetings with the team, talking about what's the fantasy being Tony Stark. Being in his garage, being in his mansion, hanging out with Pepper Potts. Getting yelled at by Nick Fury. All the things you would want to do as Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
And all the interactions that we have in the garage, for example, that Greg Miller's checking out. Not much debate. It was more like, hey, of course he's going to have a workout machine. We want to do all these different interactions in VR to, again, kind of sell the fantasy of being Tony Stark. So, yeah, and it's fun making these kind of one-off like little experiences.
That's cool. Yeah, totally.
And one, this is more, again, back on the kind of the dev commentary side of things, but one debate that we had right up until the bitter end on the original version of the game was whether or not what Greg is doing right now would create a temporary strength buff.
Oh, kind of like in GTA with CJ when he was
Right?
pumping up.
man.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
A lot of discussion, a lot of debate, but we ended up not doing it because we thought maybe players might think it's too arduous to have to go back to the garage.
Do that all the time. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that was the right move, but it was a fun.
That's fun. Yeah, that's
it's
a cool
idea
conversation to
talk
think about. Someone thinking that far away and being like, "Oh, what if?" That's cool one. I like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Definitely. What is the dream of being Tony Stark? It's doing pull-ups. It's
drinking smoothies.
Yeah.
Drinking smoothies.
Drinking smoothies,
It's
throwing
playing
dumbbells
basketball.
around the building. Yep.
These are all
Destruction of your own mansion.
a lot of new stuff for Matt Walker to hear too, because he wasn't on the original development of the game.
That's
but,
the cool part.
But he just spearheaded this Meta Quest 2 version with our development.
Mike, what do you
colleagues
want to see? What kind of armor set you want to see here?
Greg, I want to see. Were you in the Patriot outfit already?
We don't have it unlocked yet.
Oh, okay. I like that black and gold, Greg. I'll always be a sucker for black and gold. It's sleek. It's cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
that Patriot armor. That's
it
hot.
looks so slick. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And so do you guys have a giant Iron Man statue inside of the headquarters? Like, what does camouflage look like? You talk about everybody being around the globe, but like, Do y'all have a giant statue? Greg Miller once had a giant Black Panther statue behind him in his own office.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of like the things I was thinking about negotiating for.
Okay, saying, hey, I want this. I want
yeah,
this.
All right, we'll do the MetaQuest 2 version.
Yes.
But I need an Iron Man suit. Right.
Well, we have a life-size we have the HUD thing.
Oh, the HUD thing. Yes,
the
yes,
HUD
yes.
thing, right? There's probably like an Iron Man action figure somewhere, right? That'd be a life-size HUD thing.
Yeah.
HUD thing.
Right?
HUD guy.
Right? Okay.
The best feature from the game.
That's right.
But I think it would be really cool. We don't have one of those just yet, but because. But it's a path we went down. But and part of the reason why it was a bigger conversation than we thought at the moment is that the suit, the armor that Iron Man uses in Marvel's Iron Man VR is a unique armor that we designed with Audie, who's a longtime Marvel collaborator.
Okay.
And it's called the Impulse armor, and it was built specifically and uniquely for our game.
Cool.
And we spent, I'm not exaggerating, I think it was over a year of back and forth.
Wow.
With Tim and Bill over at Marvel to get the suit design just right, working with Audie.
Yeah.
It was a labor of love to put lightly, but I'm so proud of what we did with that design. And what you can see with the design of it is that it kind of, because this, as Greg mentioned, it's kind of an origin. It's not an origin story, but we're early in Iron Man's career.
Yeah.
So we took inspiration from early Iron Man armors designs, and then added like a more of a modern spin to it, and kind of combined those two elements into what we got in the game, which is called the Impulse armor.
And for the port here, one of our big star contributors is this guy at Endeavor One named Louis Liu, who he's been around for a long time. He worked on like the original God of War on PS2.
Wow.
And he helped us optimize that outfit so that it would look just as good, but essentially
with much lower tries and materials, right? More simplified materials. Yeah, it's amazing. He's a master.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing, man.
Phony, Tony. There's no record of him in my database.
Here comes one of my favorite jokes.
He was sort of a silent partner.
I'm a genius!
I love that.
Yep.
A silent partner. Yeah.
With all due respect, sir, I must ask, do you trust him?
Yeah, and here's like another like silly dev thing that like I think most people probably wouldn't notice, but just like the facial animation, like
No, you're right.
again, in order to optimize, we had to like change like the facial, what we call the facial rigs, for instance, which are which basically the skeleton that moves the mesh as the characters are animating, and we had to optimize it to make it something that was less complex. But I think very much because of Layla's fantastic performance, and certainly from all this amazing hard work that all of our animators put in, I think she's just as expressive.
Yeah.
Here,
it's amazing what we were able to do.
It looks so good.
Ryan Payton.
Yes, sir.
What did you want to show last time? I clicked on the mission too fast.
I was thinking about that. So there's a mission that most players did not, I think, have an opportunity to appreciate.
Okay.
With the original version of the game, it's in New York. It's called Stark R&D Lab.
There it is.
And this one, again, I'm going to put myself at risk here. Do the flight challenge and tell me, Greg Miller, if this is not one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen rendered on a MetaQuest 2.
Okay.
When I jumped into this to the space for the first time, when Matt Walker's like, "Hey, you should check out the space," the team just put this onto the platform.
This is beautiful. This right here is what's beautiful.
It is that load time. Look at that. Boom, it's done.
I was blown away. And it's gonna be hard to see on the stream with like on these on just like on the monitors, right? But when you're in VR, I think this is like one of the most stunning spaces that I've seen in VR, whether it's wireless or not. And obviously, I'm super biased, but I encourage anybody, if you play Marvel's Iron Man VR from MetaQuest 2, please play this optional space. It's the Stark R&D Lab. It looks and plays fantastic.
That's true. This space is not part of the Golden Path, is it?
And it's a space that oftentimes people overlook because it's an optional space.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's good to have the developers commentary here. We can talk about that and make sure to shine a light on that. That's cool.
Yeah, and as a developer, you obviously want players to experience all the great content, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, there was talk about integrating this into the main flow, but again, we wanted to keep the content the same, just so players who played on PlayStation VR are still satisfied. But those who haven't played it or want to play it again, they can check it out on the Quest 2.
There you go, Greg. Yeah,
I'm trying to get better,
use
guys.
your
I swear,
tools.
There you go.
I didn't get it though, did I?
Smart.
No, I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't get it. You didn't get the ground pound.
Keep going.
There you go.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of different optional missions in the game. This is one of the flight challenges that Greg Miller is going through. So you can go to all the previous environments. You can do flight challenges. Eventually, you unlock combat challenges.
Nice.
And you can just fly around if you just want to check out the space.
That's great.
And
yeah.
Especially for hardcore Marvel fans, just being able to like inspect the Helicarrier to the nth degree and seeing all the detail that the team put in there is
cool.
really, really cool. And it's I'm really happy we added that option.
Check it out. We got a comment from BMF VR. The ability to spring on 360 without artificial locomotion is a game changer for this game. A game changer, Ryan Payton.
I think he's right. I think, and by the
He or
yeah.
she.
Well, no, I think he reviewed the game. He's got a very popular YouTube channel, and I messaged him earlier today on Twitter, and he said something negative about Little Buddy too, which was interesting.
Wait, who?
I don't know what you're talking about. So, but yeah, but he's right. It's a game changer in terms of just like what Greg Miller is doing right now. He's just moving and rotating his physical body.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, like I remember not liking flight challenges on PSVR, and I think part of it was just having to do a more, unnatural turn. Whereas right now, this really is just connected to my head.
Yeah, I mean, we, got to give credit where credit's due for the team. We knew that realizing Marvel's Iron Man VR for the PlayStation VR hardware was going to be a challenge given the Move controllers weren't originally designed for VR, the wireless nature of it. It's still a great hardware. It's still sold really well.
100%.
It has amazing content, right? But
yeah.
we looked at those challenges and we've stared them down, and we did stuff that nobody else did. Like, I don't think anybody else designed a game to allow for 360 movement for PlayStation VR because there's only a one camera setup too.
Of course.
So we had to create a bunch of what I called like tech black magic that did a bunch of predictive stuff too, because when players turn their body, like what Greg Miller is doing right now, they didn't know where the camera is.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if the camera can't see the controllers, it also loses tracking. So we had to use like the gyroscope and do all these different kind of predictive
I'm replaying
things.
it. I felt good about it. I think I can do better.
That's
I
why
felt
we
strong
didn't
with
talk
you.
about that. Of like the transition from the one camera on the PSVR, like you said, right, where you got to be in front of it for it to read everything, to now this. That's a very interesting concept to talk about.
And it was one of those things where we kind of got it out of the box for when we put the game onto the MetaQuest 2.
Yeah.
Is we had all the systems in place to allow the player to play 360 motion, but we also obviously had to support seated positionings, which we do as well on Quest 2. So lots of interesting challenges. Big credit goes out to Matt Walker and the team and the dev team. And
Never heard of
it. This was not an easy job.
Okay.
You're right. Credit does go out to me.
You're right.
Big credit.
This wasn't
And big credit goes out to you and your daily updates. So more
Okay.
Here's something nobody cares about.
No, they do. Of course they care about it, because we talked about how the majority of the team didn't think this game was going to be possible from a development perspective, right?
Okay.
And how do we turn that tide?
Yes.
There's no more better motivator other than public demos than showing the team progress, showing them what they're doing is having an impact. And that is a huge motivator for the team. And so Matt Walker realized that, and every morning the team would wake up from a video that he recorded in Japan just hours prior, where he's like, okay, guys, I know we got a long way to go, but check out this thing that Lewis just checked in. Or just check out this thing. Look how great, Stark R&D Lab looks now in the headset. Look at this bug that just got fixed. It was this morning rally cry to show the team that we're making it and we're getting there. And it, one by one, team members that, again, thought we could never do this started getting really motivated, really excited. And then they're reaching out and saying, how else can I help? Yeah. I want this to be great, and a big hats off goes off to Endeavor One, who was really shouldering a lot of the game development. They're Seattle-based, they're local. We were fans of them for many years, and this is an opportunity for us to work with them because they're super seasoned VR developers, Unity developers, and longtime friends as well. So. Without them, I don't think this game would have been possible either. So it's just been a really awesome collaborative experience working on this title.
I love that. I love that story. I'm a big fan of the rally call of like hey, we can do this. Look at how cool we're doing. Look at this cool stuff. Let's rally up. I love that. That's great to hear.
Does Greg Miller do that for you and your crew?
No, Mike does that for us. Mike is the king of the pep talk.
Yeah, I love the pep talk. I love the morning, hey, let's get together. Let's get, all aligned here, and let's just go have fun and create something cool. So to hear that that's happening over there with you guys, I think is really awesome. I love hearing that.
Yeah, because not every morning's there's good news or things are going your way, right? But when you got positive, optimistic people like you, Mike, like Matt Walker, that really can energize the team, right?
That's cool. Yeah, I think it goes so far and can help so many. Is right. Some mornings suck. I get that, right? But if we all come together and we have the dream and we have the vision, we can make something cool. So that's great to hear.
Honestly, that's a big reason why we're here. Is that we're I've been big fans of what you guys have been doing for a long time, and it's the you guys talk about tough stuff. You give critical feedback on things, but you guys have a good, fun, positive environment.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes in like a really cynical world, that's missing and lacking. So I really appreciate that.
That's great. Heck yeah, you guys. That's really, really fun. And of course, bringing that into the next project. And of course, the studio, right? It's like, if we're still there, we're still working on more stuff. So that's really cool. What about the moment right now? We always talk about like updates and refining and working, right? Like, yeah, there might be another project in the works, but like right now, day one here on the MetaQuest 2, what's the team now doing, right? Are we looking at improvements, or do we have to do bug fixes? Like, what kind of stuff is happening?
I hope that right now they're watching the stream.
Okay.
Because they've earned a break, and they're all just in Slack, all just writing "little buddy."
Little buddy. Okay, firing up the team right now.
That's my hope.
and also just being really proud of what they created, right? Obviously that as well.
And also dancing poodle.
Oh, your silly dancing poodle gifts and everything. But yeah, the team is keeping a close eye on how players are experiencing the game right now to see if there's any issues that people are finding. If they do find them, we're going to do our best to to update. But so far, I mean, it's only been out for a few hours, but from what we can tell, it's been going really, really well.
That's great. That's really cool. Very similar to the first time you launched. I mean, we had that story, but like, you launch a game only so many times in your life. You're relaunching almost the same game, but it's the same kind of feeling. It's the same thing of day one all over again. How does that feel now as like the repeat almost?
Right. I want to know how you're feeling.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I had a hard time sleeping last night because nervous about today. Because I felt really good going into the previous release as well, like very similarly. And and I thought that maybe is not a good sign.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm so proud of this game. I think it's a great game. I think it's a great demonstration of VR. I think it's, like we talked about, the pairing of Iron Man and VR is like peanut butter and chocolate, right? It's just a perfect pairing. And who doesn't want to fly around as Iron Man and play as Tony Stark in VR with this big story? And yeah, we took some lumps when the game originally came out, and we fixed some of those things in an update.
Yeah.
Like we shortened the load times, right? But not to the level that we did on this title. And the thing that one of the things I think the team just did such a great job on is that by just leveraging what's great about the Quest 2 hardware, the experience is just a very pure experience.
Cool.
You got your touch controllers. You don't have to worry about whether the camera can see them or not. It's got really, really great tracking on them. You've got the lenses in the Quest 2, which are really, really nice. The UI comes across a lot crisper than it did previous because we have more pixels to work with. You've got the integrated sound, which you don't have to worry about putting headphones in or earbuds in.
I'm a big fan
which
of
is
that.
a big thing as well. What am I missing, Matt Walker?
Oh man, I mean, you hit the key.
Oh, and
the key point.
The analog stick as well, obviously, but
right. But I mean, it's just
Nice to see they upgraded to my market.
so this morning, one of the best things was waking up and kind of looking at reviews, right? And as a developer, this is what you do on launch day. Everybody they wake up, they look at reviews, they go, what did people think? We've been working so hard on this for so long, right? And there was this great quote from Upload VR. Oh, I hope it's okay that I talk about other media outlets here.
Friends of the show, we love Upload
All right,
VR.
friends of the show. Upload VR says, and they said, basically like I'm sure you guys will find the specific quote, but it's like, you know, on this hardware, this hardware unlocks, right, like the true potential of this game, right? And just seeing that, it felt so good.
Yeah, because they hit us pretty hard with the load times previous.
Okay.
And because the Quest 2 has this the SSD and that the really fast load times, they even called that out as like, hey, it kind of reduces the friction again.
That's cool.
And yeah, couldn't agree more.
And you know, I mean, we're talking about the hardware a lot, but it's also, and it's really cool to see how hardware is evolving. You know, I mean, PSVR 2. Tell me if I'm wrong, but don't the controllers for PSVR 2 aren't they tracked inside out, just like the Quest?
Correct, they are.
Right?
Wow.
I love it, man. That just, you know, the whole industry is going, hey, here's like the best way to do this. Great, let's do that, so that the players have an even better experience for this.
It really does feel like, no matter what device you're developing for or working for, you guys are all talking together and learning from each other and trying to make this into something.
Yeah, it's a big. Iron Man VR wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for all the hard work that all these developers did and releasing all these games that we go check out and go like, oh wow, yeah, menus can work that way. And wait, how are they getting that fidelity or this technology that Matt Walker was talking about earlier about that the Oculus Studios and the Meta platform team puts out, which allows future developers to basically double the frame rate through technology, right? Which is so cool. There's so much stuff going on.
Quite the commanding view, sir.
Iron Man Tony had a of it.
You see that?
You like that?
It's top of his hand real quick on that.
You know, speaking of silly dev commentary, one of my favorite things is in debugging the game. You know, we have a QA team that is working really hard on testing the game and making sure that we're like finding all the bugs and fixing them. And one of the most fun things is like watching videos that they take as they find bugs, and you know, when they find something, they use their hands to go like, see this, it's this thing, it's this thing. And so there's just tons of videos of them going like this right here. Yeah, I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, it really does speak to like the immersive aspect of VR, and you feel like you're there and like, oh, I could just point to this thing.
Yeah, very cool.
In fact, that's how I review the game too. Again, this is mainly Matt Walker's project, but I'll go in there and he'll say, hey, can you check out the game, give some feedback. So I'll go in there, and the Quest 2's got this great feature. You can go in there, you can just hit one button, hit record, and it asks you if you want to record your voice.
Yeah.
And then I just jump into the game, and then I just point out stuff.
That's great.
And
yeah, exactly. That's cool.
Literally with your virtual hand.
As Tony Stark goes on Iron Man. I'm like, see this aliasing over here, guys? I think we could smooth this out. That's typically that type of feedback.
I'd say 90% of your feedback is aliasing. That's true.
That's really rad.
Mike, we're on the Helicarrier. Nick Fury's right over there.
Look at that.
We saw that very exciting stuff. That's right.
This is a cool scene.
I think I'm already in one.
I love
There's some of the AR elements we were talking about earlier, Mike, right?
But can I play a game with Nick? Does that come back up and they offer me?
This is definitely like in the dev commentary. We could probably talk about this now finally, but for the longest time, I had this DLC thing I wanted to do.
Okay.
Where you play real chess against Nick Fury.
I want that. I want that. Yeah.
And like one of our poor engineers had to build like a prototype for that, but we ran out of time, weren't able to do it. But I thought that I thought that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, chess on the Helicarrier with
Nick
the
Fury?
AR and Nick Fury.
Are you kidding me?
It's a cool mix. I like that. Yeah.
I'd pay $30 for that.
$30. Whoa.
What
we might be paying you too much these days. No, that's it would be. It was. We were having a lot of fun with it, but you know, we as Matt Walker knows too. You know, so much of the importance of what we do is in order to execute is to focus.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's smart. I like that.
And sometimes I really struggle with that because I get excited about this stuff.
Of course. Mike wants to play chess with Nick Fury. Why not?
Fury. I want to have
focus.
I want to have multiplayer. You know, I want to do this. I want to do that. Right. But it's oftentimes a balance of new stuff plus just being able to focus and execute. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. You know, I mean, I basically just focus on one thing, usually just one joke.
Yeah, you do.
Then that's the thing that I focus on. And you're the one that focuses on lots of stuff.
Try to.
There you go. We're a good balance.
Won't even turn on. Friday still handling analytics?
She was. I called up some extra help recently.
Give that to them. Maybe they'll have better luck.
One of my favorite interactions is coming up. It's a simple interaction.
After you.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
But it just felt so it felt so impactful, and it was one of those things in VR where it was like, yes, this is like the potential of VR. And I'm bringing this up way too early because it's going to be a little while before it happens.
It is, yeah.
Aren't your judgment distracts you
From what?
the end game.
And for all of those out there, all the viewers out there who thought we were making a cheeky reference to the MCU film,
Of course.
that was recorded in the game before we even knew the title for that film.
You have a lot of these moments
We
right
do.
now that we're talking about. From Ghost to that, that's
Right.
very interesting.
I
That's
think
cool.
When you're living in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe, you know,
Uh-huh.
it's interesting how independently you come up with these different things.
Yes.
It was real. I thought that was really fascinating about that whole process.
Off the Raptors. Everyone, out of the pit.
Look at that. Here we go. So first, this idea of
I just love like
Nick Fury pulling you up.
the character interactions. Like
Right.
rather than just
Yeah,
sit there and like,
exactly.
listen to people talk, we wanted players to, get picked up by Nick Fury, and do like this 1980s film reference that you're teasing, Matt Walker.
Well, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Tony, guess I don't need to tell you.
Oh, here we go. This is
I
it.
listen to you anyway, Nick.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
I get it.
Hit the grip. Hit the grip.
I'm hitting it. I'm hitting it.
Why didn't it happen?
Oh, let me resync myself. There you go. No.
Well, there you go.
Are you holding the grip button?
Yeah. I mean, I'm making a fist, right?
No, it's a bug.
There it
Oh,
is.
there
There
Yeah,
it
we
is.
found it. We found a
Well,
sweet
we're gonna
spot. We
fix that
found a
one.
sweet spot. Don't worry about it.
We're gonna
We'll
have to
end it.
fix that one. But so on PSVR, anyways, when I first played that, it felt so impactful to me to to be in this moment. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting attacked and stuff, and then Nick Fury puts out his hand. You're like,
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Nick Fury.
homie.
Yeah, we're gonna
Come
do that.
on. Yeah, that's really cool. That's
Right?
fun to be able to do stuff like that.
It's a lot
And yeah,
cooler when it works
leads to the
right.
immersion, like you said, right? Being able to be picked up and like be in that instead of just sitting there watching it is a cool idea. I like that a lot.
I see you've built a giant cage. Where do you find the time?
I hired the help of an independent.
So this mission is the Helicarrier mission that one of our designers Simon worked on for a long time. It was so hard to balance out giving the player the clarity of what their objective is to do.
Yes.
Despite the fact that the goal, the creative goal of this mission was a big chaotic battle
Okay.
in the air. So we went through so many iterations of this mission here to make it feel like, this epic set piece
Yes.
where where Ghost makes this attack on, is launching this assault
There you go.
on
Good
the
job, dude.
Helicarrier with all these different enemies coming around, while also not making it too chaotic and too fatiguing.
Smart.
It was this really, really interesting kind of balance that we had to
Yeah,
strike.
that's a dance right there. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Really, really tough. But I think he did a great job.
I think
And
it boosts sideways. Can you boost sideways?
Yep.
All right, there you go. Nice.
There you go.
There you go. And then if you're able to punch at him,
when he's vulnerable.
I'm not even gonna
Or
try.
she.
I'm not a puncher.
He doesn't
all right?
like that. He
I'm the
doesn't like
archer.
that.
I stay back.
Greg doesn't like that. He plays a certain way.
Hey, it's one of those. I don't have it down yet, so I'm not gonna try.
Yeah,
yet,
makes
all
sense.
right?
Makes sense.
You don't go out into the big game, start shooting 3-pointers if you're playing in the paint, Mike.
Go full fury.
Sir, head immediately to the hangar doors. Let's release those jets.
Yeah, here's another one of our team's favorite, what we call superhero interactions, where, as you can see, what Greg Miller's doing there is using Iron Man's superhero strength to rip off that element, right? And then to grab this hangar door with one arm, and then use his repulsor and his thrusters on his gauntlet with his other hand to propel this huge hangar back.
Yeah, exactly.
This is one of the first interactions that we prototyped, and we fell in love with it, and we didn't know how we were going to use it. But we had it in our back pocket during development, and we found a great excuse to work it here.
That's fun. Yeah. It puts you in the driver's seat. You become Chris Evans as Captain America holding on to the helicopter and the helicopter pad. And you're like, that's a fun moment. You got to have that. It's right. You got to have those cool moments.
And you don't even know where you're going to be able to put it in the game. You just know you want to have these moments,
That's cool.
right? And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
part of the fun of the creative process, right?
So we forgot forgot rule number 2 then. Don't mess with perfection.
Yeah, I thought that was such a cool idea. The idea that you're using the repulsor to basically jet the door open, right?
Yeah, that feels like right out of the movie.
Right. You know who came up with that specific idea?
I think maybe Nathan Scott. I remember him working on it. It was really, really cool. We're talking about scope and focus, Mike. One of the many tricky things about this project is these moments that we're showing that Greg's doing. That superhero moment there, when he was extinguishing the fire on the jet in that first mission, right? Those aren't things you can just copy paste in the code. Those are all bespoke moments that need to be prototyped, built, get to alpha, to get to beta, to get to polish. Sometimes you cut them, hopefully you keep them, but they're all very, very expensive to build. Basically, each one of those things.
Yeah.
Because like in a more traditional game, a PS5 game or Xbox game, what you typically do on the gamepad is you walk up to that burning engine, and it says press A or press X to extinguish, right? But in VR, you do all of those elements, right?
Exactly.
And so that was, yet again, like one of many challenges that we had on the project, but totally worth the investment. It was back to that feeling like a superhero, feeling like you're Iron Man in VR and doing all this cool stuff.
That's brilliant.
That was
That's
smart,
really cool.
Greg, using the Unibeam on the Revenant there.
I don't even want to deal with the shields, you know?
It just rips through the shields. Just tears through it.
Yeah, you'll get yours. Hold on, buddy.
Nice.
Good timing.
Nice.
All right, look at that. Alan Ninetails. I love listening to devs talk about their works of art. I hope Kind of Funny does more of these. There you go, Mike. So who's next? Who are you going to get next?
Who's next? Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Well, actually, next week on the Kind of Funny XCast, I'm going to sit down with one of the development teams for Halo Forge for Halo Infinite.
Wow,
so that was really cool. Got to sit down with Joe Staten, which was pretty special.
Cool, right
I've
on.
sat down with Sarah Bond, which was pretty special.
Amazing.
So I, as the rookie of Kind of Funny, have had some pretty cool interviews, and I think this is probably my best one. I want you to know, I'm going to walk out of this
Mike's
going,
been killing
that
it,
was
ladies
my
and gentlemen.
best.
Round of applause
Thanks.
from Mike.
You're doing a great
Yeah,
job.
fun.
You're doing a great
Mike
job.
Brown from Forza.
Yeah.
Got to sit down with him. That was really, really special. And so, yeah, the dream ones. Oh, I just sat down with Cliffy B to talk about Gears of War. So, yeah, I like these streams where we can sit down and talk with you guys, because you development guys and gals out there are the ones who create the things we love. And there's some really special stuff. So, yeah, I'm really lucky and blessed to be able to do that.
All right, let's fix
Thanks,
that, Mike. There we go.
But yeah, I'm glad that people like this, because yeah, it is different. We just moved into the spare bedroom studio, right? So this is all new to us, right? What kind of things we can do. Like you talked about the focus, right? Everybody wants to do a million things. What are we good at? What are some of the easy things to do in week number 3, right? Let's not let's not shoot for the stars here 7 days into the studio.
Ryan Payne's going to help you get Ryan Payne knows everybody. Okay?
Oh yeah?
So he's going to help you get, let's see here, who's you're gonna get Phil Spencer on here, right?
Already had him.
Sorry.
Phil Spencer, the first person we ever recorded in here.
That's
That is
amazing.
true.
I'm wrong. I'm
So,
wrong.
but kind of going back to talking about the game, and we
Getting serious again. All right, Dad, we'll talk about Marvel's Iron Man VR.
not talking about this game specifically, but talking about game development. Is something that game developers, I think, generally speaking, like to do. But what Matt Walker and I sometimes talk about is how much value does that have, really, for your average player, right?
Yes.
And so we sometimes get kind of self-conscious when we're on shows like this. Like, is anybody interested in the fact that those kind of hovering cover pieces there from Living Laser, are you interested in the origin story of why we decided to do that? Is that interesting for people, or is it just interesting for us game developers?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's one of the reasons I think people like to do this stuff with us, is that we have an audience we've cultivated who does care about that. And if they don't, they'll hang out and say, what's up? And, not be huge jerks about it, right? Like, I think it would be way harder to do something like this and I'm not saying, I'm not talking crap, but like IGN, right? When we were at IGN, right, you're trying to serve this giant audience.
Right.
And so how do you get into something like this?
IGN, you hear that?
They know what I mean.
They know, yeah. They know exactly.
And
what
they do
Greg's
it.
doing
I mean,
is.
God bless them. But I'm just saying, like, we can bring in our dev friends and people we want to talk to and show cool stuff with.
And you two are very fun and playful. You know what I mean? Like, we've had some great stories. You guys, your banter back and forth has been fun and engaging, right? And I think everybody enjoys that. You saw the chat really enjoying and lighting up. So, yeah, it's been a great time.
I do deserve
It's been a nice
credit for that.
afternoon.
You do deserve credit.
I do deserve credit for that. Thank you.
Well, game development is, people hear it all the time. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And I think if you go into it really serious all day, every day, you're gonna get really burnt out real quick. You know,
Yeah.
that's why
It should be fun, right?
we have a lot of fun. And you know, as a developer, as many developers, we've really changed over the years to not really push the team as hard as we used to.
Yeah.
So try to build the game in a really healthy manner. While still respecting deadlines and milestones and things like that.
That's great.
And
Super important, yeah.
That was really important in this title too, because we had a pretty tight timeline on it. But we told the team up front, we're not going to ask you to work weekends,
Yeah.
you know, or late nights just to get this thing out the door. If we need to scope down stuff, we will. And that also helps, I think, make development more of a healthy and fun environment, right?
Well,
I mean, hats off to you guys for doing that. That's a huge thing. Because that was, you know, when you say, oh, you have until October, we'll give you November. Obviously, that's a concern, right? I mean, crunch is such
that
a
was
big problem
question.
for
Is
us.
like from the team is like, does that mean we're gonna have to crunch? And the question that we usually come back to say, no, that the solution of like the break glass in case of emergency to go basically is crunch.
Yes.
We got to look at all the other tools that we have in front of us before we go break glass in case of emergency,
exactly.
right?
You know.
Whoa.
But, you know, I mean, back in the green room today, Heather and Greg, our friends at the
Oculus Studios.
external, yeah, I was trying to think what their team name is.
Yeah, production over at Oculus
But
Studios.
yeah, production, right? Who both used to work in Insomniac, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We were having that exact discussion. They're like, look, it's games. It should be fun. You know, your job should be fun. You're making games, right? And so, yeah, you know, even before I got to Camouflage, frankly, I was just really impressed with the culture that you guys had already cultivated of making it something where it did prioritize the people, you know, and there was a lot of it wasn't just like a top-down thing at all. There's lots of great discussion. You guys had already
I went the
done-
wrong way. I
man,
went the wrong way.
Greg.
Don't tell Kevin.
Don't break the new desk.
don't even. Oh, man. You want to talk about Kevin and Nick raining hell on me if I did.
No, man, just
I
don't put your
kicked
arms
through
up.
the TV playing Iron Man.
Don't put your arms up. I was in a hotel this week, a really nice hotel this week, and I put my arms up and almost broke a light. It's probably been around for like 100
Oh,
years.
yeah, solid. Yeah, exactly. That's all we want.
Yeah, you
That's
gotta
right.
be careful. Get those guardians properly positioned.
That was scary.
Now, of course, as we come towards the near end of the Helicarrier mission, of course, this is where we'll say goodbye to the stream. So I guess I'll pose to you guys before we do the whole outro. What are some of the final things you'd want to tell our audience, the best friends, about Camouflage, about Marvel's Iron Man VR? Like, what are some of the things that you would get off?
Oh man, well, I mean, in terms of Camouflage, you know, we just have a really wonderful team of a lot of really great people, you know, and as Ryan was talking about, I think it's important that we recognize and thank everybody for all the amazing work that they've done. You know,
Yeah.
in terms of this game, personally, I hope that, you know, being on Quest here, that we're gonna give more people an opportunity to try it out and really understand, like, you know, the potential of VR. You
Yeah.
know, that you're able to, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but like that with VR and with these headsets, you're able to give people experiences that they just could not have otherwise.
Yep.
Certainly not on like a screen on TV, but even in real life, you know. What about you, man? What do you think?
Well, I mean, on that note, I think that, you know, the team just did such an amazing job fully realizing that fantasy of being Iron Man and matching that with the strengths of VR, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, using the touch controllers to use your repulsors and blast away enemies and fly around and rocket punch and ground pound and having the HUD be fully realized in that VR headset. It's such and not to mention like the story that we built for the game, I think is really important. And so that's why it's such an emotional day for me, because I get to see the team's work realized on this new device.
Yep.
And have it be in front of, have an opportunity to have many more people check it out and appreciate the work that the team did. And then lastly, just speaking to the team, this wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for our friends at Marvel Games with our development partners at Endeavor One, and with our friends over at Oculus Studios, our new colleagues there, that believed in this game and worked so hard to bring this game to market, whether it's on the marketing side, the production side, business side, legal side. It was an effort, and I just can't extend a great enough thanks to everybody. So, and for you guys too for having us on your show.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you guys for coming.
Really honored to be here.
Congratulations to you guys in the team is right.
Like, I can't think of a better crew to be here to celebrate the launch of Marvel's Iron Man VR for MetaQuest 2. We're just, we're having a great day. This is a great day.
Great stuff. Greg Miller, you are the man of many words. You are the leader. It is time to say goodbye. So as you wrap this up, remember, tell us what you think and how much fun you had today.
I mean, come on, I've had a great time. You know how much I liked Iron Man VR before. This is the definitive version. Like, this is so much fun to play. I'm not having the same hang-ups I think I had, and I'm getting much better at my punch. Hold on, no, there it is.
There you go.
Got him. But yeah, I mean, like, this is so good. The load times are, I mean, they're incredible. It's still the same game it was, where it's fun to play. The weapons are great. The story, we've been laughing at the story. Kevin's been laughing at the joke. Like, if you have, I mean, for real, like, I've talked about it before, and obviously it's a sponsored stream, yada, 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 but, like, I've always been an Iron Man VR fan, and this is just awesome. Congratulations to you guys.
Oh, thank
if
you.
I'm looking your way, you're right there.
You're looking at
A real pro.
Man.
Well, with that, that is where we will end today's sponsored stream. Of course, right now, Marvel's Iron Man VR is now out over on the MetaQuest 2, so you can go check it out, have some fun. If you're watching the stream, thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to go tell these guys how great they are. Tell the team over at Camouflage how awesome they are. And make sure to check it out over on the MetaQuest 2 when you have a chance. And with that, goodbye, everyone. Have a
3
wonderful
stars?
afternoon. Hey, you were all right that time.
I did way better than 3 stars. Game's broken.